Arenado stung the ball. Goldschmidt looked completely lost. And I asked Ollie Marmol about it yesterday. Ollie actually texted me yesterday morning and made himself available. I didn't even ask him to come on. I was just going to leave it alone because we weren't committed to doing anything after the regular season. And he actually reached out and said, I'd like to talk about the last two games. Sure. So I asked him, one of the questions was, is something wrong with Goldie physically? And he said no, but he went cold at the wrong time. And unfortunately, that is it. I think that losing Tyler O'Neill was big because you had an extra bit of thunder in that lineup to back up those two. Albert obviously went crazy in the second half of the season, but you were leaning on 42-year-old Albert Pujols, who was their best hitter for the last 6 weeks. He was their best hitter. And that's why they put him number 2 in the order, because they wanted to see him. That's a problem. I mean, the offense just didn't have enough. They had a lot of changeover this year. I totally get it. But to my point, they don't match the level of some of these big superpowers. The Cardinals were not at that level, and they needed Goldie and Arenado to do it, and they didn't do it.
Tom, you also asked Ollie about the way he handled the situation with Ryan Helsley. And we're pretty upfront asking what everybody else was asking. Okay, was something up with his finger? Why did he stay in the game? What did you get from the manager?
What I got from Ollie was that it was not communicated to him that Ryan Helsley was not feeling his right middle finger. He had no feeling in it. He said there was no pain, no feeling in it. So I was trying to narrow down when did we find this out? So it didn't happen between the 8th and 9th innings. It didn't happen. I was concerned about this from the get-go. He gets hurt on Tuesday. He falls on his finger, just so people understand what happened. He was trying to field a ball. He braced himself with his right hand, jammed his right middle finger. That's not good. So the finger is sore, but they felt the inflammation would get out of it eventually. So on Wednesday and then Thursday, they watched him like, the game's like tomorrow, and they're watching Helsley to see if he's okay. He checks out okay. Medical team said he's fine. He said he's fine. He goes out in the 8th inning, looked great, actually. But in the 9th inning, he had a strikeout. Great. Now there's 2 outs. Then he gives up a hit. No big deal. He figured it out. Walks Bryce Harper. Not the end of the world. Bryce Harper is one of the best players in the world. You got to be careful. But the walk to Castellanos was a disaster. I mean, he was erratic. It's all over the place. What I asked Ollie was, why not check on the finger like before that? But then, for sure. And he said that we did. Yachty came out, talked. Mike Maddox came out, talked, and Ryan Helsley never communicated that the finger was an issue. So we can fairly, I think, criticize the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals for not having control of this situation. But his response is, hey, nobody said, and he did not say that the finger was an issue. Not until after the fact. Well, after that, you think Castellanos was a disaster. Then he hits the next batter, brings in a run, and all heck breaks loose.
Yeah, I think Ollie Marmol did a really nice job with this team this season. I did not really care for the way Game 1 went in particular, and I'm sure you've heard the same criticisms. I know third time through the order is a really big number, and a lot of managers look at that, but I thought Quintana was dealing, man, and he looked good. There wasn't any, and if you look at all of his velocity, there really wasn't a drop-off. It wasn't like he was falling apart. I think you could have stuck with him another inning, maybe see what happens. Maybe you get into the 7th with him. And I did not like going to Helsley in the 8th. I just, generally speaking, unless you're Cleveland Indians Andrew Miller, I don't like multiple inning saves from a closer who really doesn't do that. So, I mean, those were my criticisms of it. But otherwise, I mean, the guy got a hit. You got to score more than 2 runs or you're not going to win.
Well, let's address those things. So I was not surprised that he pulled Quintana because I had said all week he's going to be aggressive pulling pitchers because
it's playoffs.
Not
it
saying
happens
I agree
a lot
with it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. I like the old school, keep the pitcher in and let him roll, especially if he's dealing. But you knew he was going to pull. You had to know. They go on information all the time. People call it analytics. It's information. They have information, database, all this stuff that says what Ron's just said. Third time around, be careful because these guys will rake, especially against a lefty or whatever the percentages
Yeah.
are. So they get Quintana out of there and they go to Hicks. Well, it works. Hicks gets the out. But the problem is what you just said. Now
You
when do
lengthen the
go to-
game a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you have more relievers. Well, you have this whole stream of relievers. So now you have Helsley sitting there and you go 5 outs with him. Well, I just said that he was going to be aggressive pulling pitchers. He was aggressive pulling Gio. Why aren't you aggressive pulling Helsley? The first hint of trouble. But he didn't. He said on my show yesterday, I went with my all-star closer and it didn't work out. That's his way of saying it didn't work. Not that I screwed up. He's not going to say that, but he said, I did something and it didn't work. He went with Palante instead of Flaherty. He goes, I understand people are going to sit there and fantasize about Flaherty punching out 2 people and then the game being over. But you look at the percentages, Segura puts everything in play. He is not going to strike out there. He's going to put the ball in play. So we went with the ground ball guy, Palante. He brings the infield in. Yikes. And the ball slips through because they were afraid maybe getting the runner at home. Segura's fast getting to first. That didn't work either. Ball gets through Edman, and we all know what happened from there.
But also the thing about Flaherty, he's kind of a wild card right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I understand maybe not trusting him in that moment. I think eventually you're going to, but didn't pitch very much this year.
It was close. I mean, Flaherty, I was watching the 2 warm up in the bullpen. Flaherty, actually, I was looking up at the video board while I was at the game. Flaherty took the pitch comm out of his hat and gave it to Palante, which tells me that he was the guy.
Yeah.
And then they made the decision then, like, Segura, we got to get this ground ball. Give that thing to Palante. Let's go. And Palante actually did his job.
Yeah.
Why did they bring the infield in there?
Because, well, that's what I said. It's a play where, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but they want to move the infield in because they want to get, if they can, the runner at the plate because Segura is going to hit a chopper. It's going to be a slow grounder. And if you hit a slow grounder as fast as Segura is, you're probably not going to get that double play. So they want to get the runner at home if they can. Well, it almost worked. Segura sort of did a little check swing at it and chopped it to the right side, and Edman tried to make this fancy play where he was going to get it, pivot, spin, fire home. And what happened was he overran the ball. It went under his glove into the outfield, and we all know what happened from there. 2 runs scored, and then they ended up scoring a half dozen in 1 inning. And the Cardinals lost the game. And then the next day, all of that can be wiped away with a win, or at least halfway wiped away by evening the series, and they weren't able to do that. So it's really hard to digest if you're a Cardinals fan. Totally get it. I'm right there with you. However, I do know the fact that the Cardinals have a season coming. I think that they will be very interested in how they improve this club in the offseason, which is a whole other topic for another day. But it doesn't make that one feel any better. That's a hard one to get over. I totally understand.
Well, Tom, I blame you.
You blame me?
I blame you. I've been thinking about it. Yep.
I blame. You know what?
I'm thinking about it for 24 hours.
Oh my God.
Always blaming the media. Always blaming the media.
The media's out to get you.
It's unbelievable. Like
That's
the
right.
media, like we play. Like we're out there playing. Actually, you don't want us doing that. You do not want us out there.
You're out there.
Ackerman, I love you, buddy. Thanks.
Love you guys. Great show, by the way. I listen to it every day.
You're a liar.
I do. I'm serious. I listen to it every day. Every single time I get in the car and leave this office, I listen to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, I listened to TIM on the way to the office.
I did too.
Look at this.
I listen in the bathroom, in the shower.
I'm so glad you don't listen to other radio stations.
This is like giving me a cavity. It's so saccharine sweet.
All right,
here.
that's enough of this.
All right.
Ackerman,
Wow.
appreciate
What
it.
a love fest.
Thanks, everybody.
Good to end on that.
We'll see you in 9 minutes. I'll have the 10:30 news.
Oh, yeah. Tom's got the news. We've got more coming up. Amy Marks scores Chris Ramji on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Why should I buy from you? Always ask. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter with Easter Fence Deck and Renovations. When working with Easter, you know it's not just about making a buck. Our commitment is to do what's right. We are a third-generation family business. A lot of pride goes into every fence, deck, and sunroom. Our name is on it, and we guarantee it. Even if it was the first job Dad did in 1957, if we didn't do it right or didn't do what we said, we'll fix it for free. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Buying a car is just a few clicks away at Bomarito.com. Choose new or pre-owned. See it today, drive it today. Shop thousands of vehicles and even buy 100% online with Bomarito Fast Pass. Schedule a test drive, get financing. What's more for your trade at Bomarito, and we'll deliver your vehicle to you. A better experience, a better price, and real service after the sale. Go with the automotive leader, Bomarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group. Open 24/7 at Bomarito.com.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of timeliness.
We show up when we say we will, on time and fully caffeinated.
The power of transformation.
Also known as making your house look so good, your neighbors will be jealous.
The power of certainty.
That's your local CertaPro painters. The power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
News, talk, sports. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's the show on KMOX. Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji this morning until 2 o'clock today.
Hey,
What?
Raj, we were talking Cardinal baseball.
Yeah.
But for a few minutes here, we're going to take a hard right turn.
Oh, man.
That was a joke. Political joke.
It is a political joke. But we don't really have time to get into it now because we discussed and broke down Cardinals baseball and what happened over the weekend and how disappointing all of that was. It was hard, man. It was difficult because I really did expect them to at least get past that wild card round. I didn't know what would happen when you finally play Atlanta. They're such a good team. I know they've beat them. I know they won 2 of 3, as Ackerman mentioned, but I just didn't think it was going to come to an end this quickly. And I didn't think it was going to look the way it looked.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I
it's
mean?
not
It wasn't just
coming to
losing.
an
Yeah.
end. Yeah. It was ugly. How do you feel about the wild card round? There was some griping.
I like it. I
because
like
the
it better
Cardinals
than a
won the division.
one-off. I like it better
Yeah.
than one game. This is a better setup. It's more entertaining that you at least get the opportunity to redeem yourself if you lose that first game. I like that. I like it better than just having that one wild card game, which I always thought was better than what the alternative was before it, which was there were no wild cards. So I like the way the game is progressing in terms of the playoff teams. I like the added interest from multiple cities. I like the fact you have more playoff teams involved, and I like this better than what it was before. But still, it's a very short series, so you can't mess around. You got a little bit more leeway, but you still can't mess around.
It's like the balloon was popped. We were just getting ready for the party. We're still blowing up balloons.
I know,
And
man.
then it was over.
I know. Dang it. Sam Wentz is an attorney in Kansas City, and he wants to end court fees for prisoners. We'll talk about that coming up next on the show.
Changing the weather. Fall. Changing the weather. Something's happening, yeah. Temps turning chillier. Days getting shorter. Changing the weather. We'll help you weather the changes. And when severe weather lands, the Air Comfort Heating and Cooling Storm Center will be there for you. The weather, we've got it covered. On St. Louis's News Radio, KMOX.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 314-946-9999. We buy houses direct. If you're thinking about selling, you're not sure where you're going to go, you can sign a contract with us. We are the buyer, and we can provide a flexible closing date for you. Once we've written a contract, we can actually adjust the closing date if you need to move it up or you need to move it back. A lot of people aren't sure where they're going to move next, and we can make it easy on you. ClaymanGroup.com, 314-946-9999, 946, all nines.
Ask yourself, what am I doing to guarantee I will have adequate inflation-hedged income that I may never outlive? Why not make sure your future income is growing and may last as long as you do? Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Trish Gazelle for Ophthalmology Associates. For the best eye doctors, you need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Online at youridoc.com or 314-966-5000.
This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Shopping around for new HVAC systems is something nobody ever wants on their to-do list. So let's help make things easier with free estimates on new equipment, up to $2,150 on Carrier Cool Cash rebates, and 0% financing for up to 72 months. With over 50 years of award-winning service, you can trust Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling with your new system install. For details and to get in your comfort zone, contact Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
We have a sunny sky and 62 degrees downtown at the Arch at 10:30. I'm Tom Ackerman. Our full forecast is coming up in just a moment. Here's what's happening first nationally and internationally. Home and business owners are cleaning up the mess left by Russian attacks on Kyiv. The Russian strikes on the capital and several other Ukrainian cities have killed at least 11 people and have injured more than 60 others. Russian President Vladimir Putin says they were in retaliation for terrorist actions by Ukraine, including a weekend attack on a bridge to Crimea. We have this from Beth Noble, the former CBS News Moscow bureau chief, now a Fordham University journalism professor. She explains that there are multiple dead and wounded, and the numbers are still rising.
Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared on television to say his military's missile attacks across Ukraine were reprisals for the attack Saturday on the 12-mile Kerch Bridge linking mainland Russia with the Crimean Peninsula, which Russia seized from Ukraine back in 2014. President Putin called Saturday's bridge attack an act of terrorism and said Russia would continue to respond with tough measures against any future attacks on its territory.
Right now, we have a stalled vehicle 55 northbound to Bayless on the right shoulder and 70 eastbound before 370, a new stall that has been moved to the right shoulder as well. It's a sunny, warm day in St. Louis today with a high of 82 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, mild, low 61. Then we get some rain, high 72 tomorrow with showers. Wednesday, a heavy thunderstorm in play with a high of 69 degrees. Right now, sunny and 62 downtown at the Arch at 1032.
Hey, I'm Thami Redwood, host of the podcast Beyond Black History Month. Here's reason number 568 million of why you should be listening. From in-depth reporting on the shortage of black sperm to how one House of the Dragon star is dealing with online trolls who don't love seeing black dragon riders.
I can't lose sleep over that, over worrying about things that are beyond my control.
Listen and subscribe to Beyond Black History Month on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This month's Zero Res special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
What started as a small, dedicated group helping a handful of nonprofits has blossomed into a movement that addresses the needs of our entire region. 100 years later, this movement is woven into the fabric of this community, a movement rooted in collectively helping each other, transforming lives, and making the St. Louis region a better place. That is the United Way. Learn more. helpingpeople.org.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. That's chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Get ready for Monday Night Football as the Chiefs take on the Raiders.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Pregame at 6, kickoff 7:15. And you can hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football, KMOX.
It's the show on KMOX. Amy Marks, Kors, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler are going to be back tomorrow. It's good to have you with us today, and we'll get your thoughts on Cardinals and a lot of other things that we've are going to talk about today. But Sam Wendt joins us now. He is an attorney and the founder of the Wendt Law Firm in Kansas City. And we know, Sam, and first of all, thanks for joining us this morning. We certainly appreciate it. And debtor's prison was a thing up until like the 1830s in this country. And we don't have it officially, but there is still, I mean, in a sense, we have it. We sort of have it unofficially, where it is difficult for a lot of people who are have committed a crime or they're in jail for a crime to get themselves out of it. So what is it that you are trying to do?
Yes, first off, thank you for having me on your program. My law firm and I have filed a class action lawsuit a little over a year ago related to a number of funds and surcharges that are placed upon the filing fees and court costs associated with civil and criminal cases in Missouri's court system. If you are a civil litigant, meaning you're pursuing a claim for money damages against someone else, a number of funds and surcharges are attached to that filing fee that have absolutely nothing to do with your case or, frankly, the Missouri court system in many ways. Same is true for criminal litigants who are in involved in various crimes, anything as small as a speeding ticket to as large as the largest felonies. To the extent that an individual pays a criminal court cost, a number of funds and surcharges are attached to those as well that, again, have absolutely nothing to do with the administration of justice or the purpose of your case.
And Sam, is it true that you were really made aware of this problem or took action on this problem last year when the Missouri Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, ruled that a $3 fee that was charged to defendants to raise money for a retirement fund for rural sheriffs was unconstitutional? And that case really brought this issue to the forefront.
Yes, I've been a lawyer in Missouri for over 20 years, and frankly never really paid attention to where the specific filing fees go for civil cases or court costs go toward criminal cases. And frankly, the Supreme Court last, I believe it was June 2021, issued an opinion called Fowler versus the Missouri Sheriff's Retirement System. And it indicated this $3 fund that had attached to these various filing fees and surcharge, or filing fees and court costs. And I just happen to think, I suspect there may be more of these where this came from, and dug in and worked for quite some time to find out that, in fact, there are at least 10 other funds and fees and surcharges that have very little, if anything, to do with the administration of justice or the purpose of that particular case.
So how many people then end up being affected by this and end up, unnecessary with these fines unnecessarily, or prison time unnecessarily?
Well, I don't know specifically related to the individuals, but anyone who pays a civil filing fee to initiate a civil case, they would be part of some of these funds and fees. And then also anyone who has paid a court cost. That could be attributable to a municipal speeding ticket, to any other criminal matter, or in some instances, conservation cases. Let's say you have the wrong numbers on the side of your boat or something, you may be then forced to pay part of your court cost to these various surcharges and funds.
And people, I should say, there has been more research into the municipal fines and fees and whether those are enacted in a predatory nature. And one of the cases that thrust this issue of fines and fees into the national spotlight happened right here in St. Louis, when the U.S. Justice Department concluded that Ferguson, Missouri was using its police department as a quote unquote collection agency. That was back in 2015.
Yeah, there's no question that different states have attempted to initiate legislation that is quite similar to that found in Missouri. And certainly you're correct. The Ferguson case did thrust it into a national spotlight, but I don't think it's unusual. There are a number of states across the country that have similar surcharges, fines, fees, and so forth, that may or may not have anything to do with the administration of justice or frankly, the judicial system at all.
And so the position you hold on this is a popular one within the state. How much backing are you getting otherwise?
Well, first off, let me say that each of these funds in and of themselves are probably very, very good and should be in place. Just the way in which they collect the funding for these funds is what we find to be unconstitutional. So an example would be, there are a number, but one is the, the Motorcycle Safety Trust Fund. I'm sure it's a very important and legitimate fund in and of itself, and something that Missouri should consider participating in. However, it should not be attached to criminal court costs, or I don't believe that one's attached to civil litigants, but it shouldn't be attached to every single criminal court cost across the state of Missouri. Many of these court costs are $1 or $3 or something like that. But when added all together, it adds, can add to as much as $50 on top of the more legitimate court costs that are related to the administration of justice. And as you do that over a number of years and over every person participating in the civil and criminal system in the state of Missouri, those numbers get unbelievably high. I was shocked to see what the numbers were.
Right. And it's that what people call taxation by citation. And it's not that the funds themselves are bad, but it's unfairly shifting costs from taxpayers to defendants or people who are in the criminal justice system. And that can really set them back. And in some ways, I believe it was the CEO of Americans for Prosperity said it can criminalize poverty. Effectively is what you're doing, is you're criminalizing poverty.
I couldn't agree more. I've called it a vicious circle. If someone gets charged with a crime and they go to pay their fine and court costs and for whatever reason can't afford it, then they are later assessed given additional criminal charges, assessed additional court costs. Those continue to pile up on one another, and it just gets to the point where folks of limited or lesser means aren't able to get out from under these exceedingly high court costs and filing fees. And it makes it just, some folks, it's just an impossible vicious circle to get out of, that they'll never be able to pay all of the fines and court costs off.
What is the next step, and what do you think the ultimate outcome is?
Well, currently our case is pending in Jackson County, Missouri, but relates to every case or every instance across the state of Missouri. We are in the discovery phase, but much of this information is a matter of public record. It just has taken us months, if not over a year, to really dig up the statutory construction and background, and also really get a good handle on these fees and exactly what they go to. The next steps would be, we have a trial scheduled for, I believe, the middle of next year, and we'll be pushing forward to trial. I suppose, like any other case, there's always a possibility of some type of resolution before that, but we're moving forward toward trial middle of 2023.
Well, we will be keeping an eye on this, and we do appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us on KMOX.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That is Sam Wendt, an attorney with the Wendt Law Firm in Kansas City, Missouri. So,
and I will say it is interesting, because maybe if there's some pushback to this where people are saying, well, don't break the law in the first place. Well, right, you don't want to break the law. But the thing is, if someone is already facing punitive measures, to pile on more fees that could unnecessarily set them back and also make it really difficult from them to bounce back or recover from that situation, that not only hurts them, but it hurts society as a whole. The goal is not to punish people and keep them down. The goal is to say, okay, well, there are consequences to this decision, but now let's recover and get you back in the right direction.
Because you want people to be, you want them to contribute to society. And sometimes it's very difficult to do that in a positive way if you're in debt, and because it can lead to so many other terrible things in your life. And it's not to say that people in debt can't contribute, but all you're doing is making it harder for them. And you're making it more likely that they can't do the things they want to do. Right?
Yep.
I think it's pretty simple.
Oh,
well,
great.
we just figured it out.
Let's check that one off. On to the next topic.
Okay. Next thing we're going to solve is what?
Trending.
Well, we
Trending
can't solve trending. Well, I know what's next, but what problem are we going to solve next?
Okay, this is a great
You
question.
think about that during the break. When we come back,
I'm
we'll
not
tell you
ready
what's
for this
trending in the
question.
world. Amy Marks scores Chris Ranji on the show.
I'm Tamron Hall. Doesn't your family deserve the best? Eggland's Best Eggs, classic, cage-free, and organic, give you and your family more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Supercomputing helicopters, Lockheed Martin's Raider X and the Sikorsky Boeing Defiant X, will operate as nodes in the U.S. Army's hyper-networked battle space of the future. Lockheed Martin, your mission is ours.
My Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. But early detection allowed us to take control of the situation together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
All right, Reinhold Electric's motto is we do it all, and this is going to prove it to you. They will come out and they'll install kitchen lighting or bedroom lighting or new ceiling fan. They do those small jobs, but they do huge jobs, commercial, industrial, even storm response. With Hurricane Ian wreaking havoc in Florida and up the East Coast, Reinhold electricians were on their way while the storm was happening, and they'll stay until people get their electricity needs taken care of. Reinhold Electric works all over our metro area and beyond. They're, of course, in St. Louis, St. Charles, Lake Ozarks, and southwestern Illinois. There's a lot of people realizing, hey, we've got a reliable electrician even at the Lake of the Ozarks. They do car chargers. You need one of those. Backup generators. Reinhold Electric is who does that for you. Find them online at reinholdelectric.com. That's REIN holdelectric.com, or call them anytime, 24 hours a day, 314-631-1158. Small jobs, big jobs, Reinhold Electric does it all. Tell them Bo sent you to Reinhold Electric.
Hi, this is Steve Butts at the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. This year marks our 60th anniversary serving our clients and friends, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norbert Butts. As your local independent insurance agency, we've been proud to represent many fine carriers such as Safeco, Travelers, and Progressive. So please give us a call for all your insurance needs, 314-752-2500 or crawfordbutts.com.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold for Newbold BMW. We just celebrated our 35th year as a BMW dealer by finishing our multi-million-dollar renovation. So come see it. It's Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Tom Ackerman sees clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to yourEyeDoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green. The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 314-441-4444. Amy, Chris, and Kevin.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
What is it? What's happened?
What's going on? What do you know?
What just happened?
What happened?
I need to know.
Trending now on the show.
Trending, sponsored by Old Town Donuts in Florissant and Cottleville. Mark's Kors and Ranji this morning on KMOX. Amy?
Yes.
Were you about to say something? You looked at me like, I got a thing. I got to tell you.
I was just going to say Kevin Wheeler is back tomorrow.
Yeah, Kevin Wheeler is going to be back tomorrow. Mm-hmm. He's been out of town for the weekend celebrating a birthday. Not his, but yeah, he's a good husband.
Because he's celebrating his wife's birthday.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. He is. I think people would have figured that out.
Probably.
I give our audience credit for being intelligent. Tell you what's trending today.
Yeah.
Well, not very good news, to be honest. At least the biggest news of the day is Russia launching more attacks in Ukraine. Civilian centers, another attack on Kyiv. 10 people to this point have been killed. I'm guessing that number is going to increase. At least that's what they believe is going to happen, and we'll keep an eye on it. But after everything that's been happening with them, the explosion on the bridge that happened a few days ago, the fact that Russia has kind of been losing this war,
They've been in
this invasion. I'm going to call it an invasion because
Yeah.
it's not really a two-sided war here. It was an invasion, and things are not going their way. So we can see Vladimir Putin just sort of upping the terribleness, and it seems to be what's happening now.
Yeah, it's just absolutely devastating. And you do wonder, how is this going to end? When is it going to end? We talked last week about an exit ramp for Vladimir Putin because, as I've used this phrase before, he's a pseudo-imperial megalomaniac who believes that the greatest disaster in history was the fall of the USSR. And now he is conscripting hundreds of thousands of Russians to go fight in a war/invasion to restore a regime, an empire that they have no connection to. A lot of these soldiers have no emotional connection or any connection to the USSR.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Ukraine, they're fighting for their homelands, and you cannot compare force of power versus force of will.
We'll talk to Colonel Jeff McCausland. We'll get an update from him. We did talk to him last week about what was happening in Russia, but with these new attacks, we thought it'd be a good idea to get some perspective from him. At 11:20, Colonel McCausland going to join us.
And happy Thanksgiving, Ranj.
It is?
Well, for our friends to the north in Canada, it is happy Thanksgiving in Canada. Thanksgiving Day in Canada. And I was just there in Alberta. So to all of our friends north of us, happy Thanksgiving and congratulations on having a great national anthem.
Oh, they do.
It's an excellent national
It's
anthem.
so good.
It's almost a song that you would just listen to in your Spotify rotation.
I do.
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, I love it. I love "Oh Canada" and all the various, interpretations of it. Yeah, it's really my favorite thing. The Blues made a trade.
They did.
Klim Kostin to the Edmonton Oilers. So I guess this really isn't much of a surprise.
Klim Kostin was one of those guys that you watch in the organization. He was 31st overall in the 2017 draft for the St. Louis Blues. You hope he had some potential, and it just didn't pan out in time. We waited and waited, and you remember with Jordan Kyrou, you saw that development. And when was he going to be ready to go? When was he going to be on the roster full time? Well, he's there. He's flying. Robert Thomas, another young guy, absolutely stepped up to the plate right away. And here's a good comparison for you. Both Robert Thomas and Klim Kostin were draft picks for the Blues in 2017. Robert Thomas was 20. Klim Kostin was 31, and you can clearly see the line here of one really panning out and one not so much, and that happens with the drafts. So Klim Kostin has gone to Edmonton, where they're celebrating Thanksgiving Day, and the Blues are getting a defenseman in return.
Well, hopefully the Blues season, which, by the way, it's coming up here.
It is. Saturday is their first game, and also that's one... It might be the latest team or one of the three latest teams to start the seasons, because some NHL teams, I believe, will have 2 or 3 games under their belts already.
Yeah, this is madness. And I think we all kind of expected the Cardinals were going to be taking up some of the attention of the start of the Blues season. But apparently the St. Louis Blues get all the attention to themselves now.
Yeah, they absolutely will. So good for the Blues. Although, again, as big of a hockey fan as I am, I was hoping the Cardinals would still be playing next weekend.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really expected we'd be getting ready for baseball tomorrow. Thought we'd maybe be on the road doing a remote watch party, something like that, because the ball game's going to be at 1 o'clock. It's going to be at 1 o'clock our time.
And I have to say, I love the overlap of Cardinals and Blues. I do
too.
I love having all the people downtown, even though it can be chaotic. And it's fun because they'll give the game updates at the Blues game or at the Cardinals game. And obviously in the spring, that can happen if the Blues have a long push into the postseason. It's fun to have both Cardinals baseball and Blues hockey at the same time.
I absolutely love it. And for me, I know that people don't like to have to deal with traffic. You don't like to have to come into a city when everything is madness, but I think it's good. It's good for St. Louis when there's a lot going on in the city at once.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with the traffic. Fine. There's more people than normal.
We talk so much about safety. A huge step in the direction of public safety is feet on the streets.
That's right. People out there walking around enjoying what St. Louis has to offer. Greg Storr covers the Supreme Court for Bloomberg News. He is going to join us in the next hour. Amy Marks Corps, Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Gas Appliance Service and the Fireplace and Grill Center have a huge selection of gas logs in stock to make your home warm and inviting. Don't get caught in the cold. Shop now for great prices, selection, and schedule your expert installation before long lead times of the holiday rush. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter-mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Hurry while supplies last. Gas Appliance Service and the Fireplace and Grill Center.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism, risking their lives to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader. George Haruza earned a reputation for getting difficult things done in his own life, medicine, and business. Now George Haruza will bring that results-based record to the state Senate for greater transparency to improve our schools and healthcare, to find solutions to protect our families from rising crime, to bring back high-paying jobs, and to implement policies to reduce runaway gas and grocery prices. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done.
Paid for by Haruza from Missouri.
KMOX, KEZK, HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At Diamonds Direct, we're so proud of our value and our selection. But what's most important is our service to you. Our focus has never been to make a sale. It's always about making a friend for life, welcoming you to our family, and taking care of you through all of life's journeys and celebrations. It's why we provide the most transparent education in our industry, helping you make the smartest purchase every time. It's why we offer free cleaning, free sizing, free maintenance for life with any purchase. It's why we're happy to buy your diamond back at a price that's 10% more than you paid us when you're ready to upgrade. It's why, in honor of Bosses Day this weekend, we're honoring you, our most important boss. Come join us this Friday and Saturday, and let us tell you again how much we appreciate you. Take advantage of our free services, and think about taking advantage of that 110% upgrade guarantee before the holiday rush. Diamonds Direct salutes you, our customer, and we thank you always for letting us be a part of your life's biggest moments.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news, KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's a sunny sky and 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour: Russian bombs have fallen on cities far beyond the front lines in Ukraine, including the capital city of Kyiv. There are multiple dead and wounded, and the numbers are still rising. Former CBS News Moscow Bureau Chief Beth Noble explains more.
The Russians seem to have been targeting critical infrastructure like power and heating plants in these missile attacks, but there's plenty of evidence that civilian targets were hit across Ukraine. The Russian message with this round of attacks is that winter is coming and that Russia is going to do everything in its power to make sure that Ukrainians suffer. Of course, these kinds of strikes not only make Russia look terrible in the eyes of the international community, including Russia's few remaining allies like China, but the attacks will actually only strengthen the resolve of the Ukrainian people to hold fast against Russian aggression.
Another pedestrian is killed in South St. Louis.
Accident reconstruction putting together the details where a fatal hit and run happened in an area prone for deadly pedestrian accidents in the last few months. St. Louis Metro Police say a woman was hit and killed at 6:45 Sunday night on Gravois at South Spring Avenue. They are still searching for the driver and trying to figure out who the victim is. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
One of 3 U.S.-based economists who won this year's Nobel Prize is relaying a familiar tale of getting the good news.
I was very happy and quite surprised to have the phone ring in the middle of the night.
The University of Chicago's Douglas Diamond heard a Swedish voice.
So from the Nobel Committee, and then I was thinking, whoa, that's a big deal. No one has ever pranked me on this.
Diamond was honored for his work in showing how governments can prevent financial crises from getting worse by guaranteeing deposits, and says probably the most gratifying part is policymakers actually seem to understand it.
The insights that we had, which are pretty simple, could be used in the actual financial crisis.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Inform your decision. Election news.
Schmidt is the best choice for Senate. That's the headline from the St. Joseph News Press. The paper has officially endorsed U.S. Senate candidate Eric Schmidt, citing his interest in the economy, energy security, public safety, and religious freedom. Bridge work begins today near the airport.
If you use Lambert International Boulevard east of Cypress, you're going to see restrictions starting today. The westbound lanes are going to be closed now through next May. So there'll be 1 lane eastbound and 1 lane westbound using the eastbound side. And when they complete that, they'll flip it and work on the eastbound lanes that'll go through July of next year. Roger Brand, KMOX News.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, weekend movies.
Horror film Smile topped the box office once again. The picture brought in $17.6 million this weekend. To keep the momentum, Paramount will have a week-long series of promotions, including discounted tickets and a Smile NFT giveaway for some ticket buyers on Thursday. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
And the Dow from Stifel right now is down 50 points to 29,245. We've got emergency vehicles on 270 north at Doherty Ferry, some debris 6440 west past McKnight in the right lane, and a stall 70 west past 141 on the right shoulder.
KMOX AccuWeather, a nice warm afternoon with sunshine. High getting up to 82. Mild tonight, down to the low 60s with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow's going to be in the low 70s with some showers and even a thunderstorm. A couple of showers and a heavy gusty thunderstorm possible on Wednesday with the highs in the upper 60s. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Reinhold Flooring. Want beautiful flooring at a competitive price? Reinhold Flooring has first-class flooring products, professional craftsmen, and a knowledgeable, caring sales staff. Start your next project by scheduling a free in-home measuring consultation at reinholdflooring.com. That's reinholdflooring.com. It's a sunny sky, 72 in Florissant, 72 St. Peters, 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Hour number 2 of the show on KMOX. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. Kevin Wheeler, he's on vacation, going to be back tomorrow. As we continue our discussion, we did talk a little bit about the Supreme Court and what was to come here in the next few weeks. It's going to be a very, very busy schedule for them, as it typically is. And Greg Stohr covers the Supreme Court for Bloomberg News. You can follow him on Twitter at Greg Stohr, and he joins us this morning on KMOX. How's it going, Greg? Thanks for being with us.
Going well. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so let's do an overview here. It is going to be very busy for them. And we have talked about how controversial the decisions were that we've seen over the last few months, over the summer, and now leading to where we are. Can we expect it to be as controversial?
Well, it's going to be hard to match the abortion decision from last term, of course. That was a ruling for the ages, no matter what you think of it. That said, the court has 5 or 6 cases already scheduled this year that look like they could be really big cases, and a lot of those go to other big cultural dividing issues, including race and voting.
And with those, the one involving race, are you referring to Harvard and UNC and the affirmative action?
That is certainly one of them. That'll be argued on Halloween, October 31st. There's actually 2 cases, one, as you said, involving Harvard, one involving North Carolina. And together, they could abolish the use of race as an admissions factor. That's something that an awful lot of selective universities have been doing for decades. The Supreme Court has previously said they can do that to make sure they have diverse classrooms and campuses. And with this more conservative court, there's certainly a very good chance the court will say, we've reached an end to that time in our history. You now have to start considering only other factors and not considering race.
And then going to the issue of maps. There are two cases here involving drawing district lines, gerrymandering, Merrill versus Milligan, and Moore versus Harper. What are some of the significant angles of those cases?
Yeah, so let me start with Merrill. That case was argued this past week. It's a case involving when states have to and whether they must draw majority minority districts, majority Black, majority Hispanic, under the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And Alabama is saying, appealed to the Supreme Court, said, despite what a lower court said, we shouldn't have to draw a second majority Black district in our state. They have 7 districts. It's about 27% Black population there. And if the court were to agree with Alabama, there's a good chance that would raise questions about other majority Black districts in other states. And according to proponents of the Voting Rights Act, would be a real rollback of that. The second case, the Moore case, is actually more complicated than that. It has to do with the role of state Supreme Courts in reversing decisions by state legislatures when it comes to congressional or presidential voting rules. The Supreme Court could really elevate the role of state legislatures and say they are the predominant voice in setting those rules.
And if the Supreme Court did rule that way and the legislatures had more power, then that could potentially lead to more partisan voting rules depending on which way the state leans.
Yeah, the case that is coming up to the Supreme Court is a case where the state Supreme Court struck down a voting map, a congressional map, as being too partisan, so gerrymandered that it violates the state constitution. The Supreme Court previously said you can't bring those cases under federal law and say they violate the federal constitution. The court said we don't have a role in saying that a map is too partisan. And in this particular case, the question is, can a state Supreme Court say it's too partisan under our state constitution?
There is a case that's going to be heard tomorrow regarding the national pork producers. And it sounds like on the surface, you hear that and you think, oh, this sounds silly. But there are a lot of people who say it's actually not, that it could have ramifications for the country. Could you explain that particular case and what's at stake?
Yeah, so this case is about a California law. It was actually put in place by via ballot initiative that says you can't sell pork in this state unless you meet certain humane standards for the cows, including the ability to roam around a little bit and at least turn around in your pen. And the reason it's so important, of course, is California is such a big state that the pork industry says, if we have to abide by California's rules, that really requires us to change the way we sell pork nationwide. The challenge is under what is known as the Dormant Commerce Clause. It's basically this notion that a state cannot discriminate against out-of-state commerce. This may be one of those cases that doesn't necessarily divide the court along ideological lines. So some of the issues with the so-called Dormant Commerce Clause have cut across and bring kind of the more liberal and the more conservative justices together.
Has the Supreme Court decided yet whether or not they will hear the case of Florida versus NetChoice regarding social media companies and how much they can moderate content?
They have not agreed to hear that particular case. They've agreed to hear another case that has to do with the liability, whether social media companies can be held liable for making targeted content recommendations that have ramifications, in this case, including allegedly helping out terrorists. The case that you're talking about has to do with laws in Texas and Florida that say social media companies can't discriminate against, among other things, conservative voices. The court has not yet said whether it will hear that case.
Is that something that the court really wants to make a decision on, or is that something they want to kick, back to Congress saying, listen, you need to deal with this? How significant do you see their decision being in any of these tech cases?
It could be enormously important. I don't. It's hard to say whether the court, especially on that second issue, wants to get into it yet. Certainly, there will be some reticence at tackling these highly technical issues, and perhaps some members of the court will say, "I wish Congress would deal with this." But in the absence of Congress really engaging on this issues, the court may feel like they need to. And in the background are these constitutional questions like the First Amendment that aren't really things that the court's going to defer to Congress on. They are things that the court may want to make its own decision on.
Greg, I want to go back a couple of months back to the Roe decision and when it was leaked, and a lot of rumors on which side leaked it and was it a clerk and how did this happen? And then I feel like that discussion kind of faded away. Is there still an investigation into that we just haven't really heard about? What's the status of that?
Unfortunately, I don't have a real update for you. The court has said next to nothing about that. There has been an investigation. It was led by the Marshal of the Supreme Court. She's the chief security officer there. The court made no promises about making public what the Marshal found. All we've heard publicly has been a couple members of the court over the summer, Justices Gorsuch and Kagan, both suggested they expected to get some sort of update when they returned for the arguments in early October, but we, the public, had not gotten any sort of an update, so we don't know whether they figured out who did it, whether the trail has run cold, anything like that.
Greg Stohr, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for joining us today on KMOX.
Always a pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
That is Greg Stohr, Bloomberg News, and he covers the Supreme Court. And again, going to be a very busy docket for them. I think we know that's going to be the case. You can follow him and his coverage of the Supreme Court by going to Twitter. He is there at Greg Stohr. Our show is on Twitter as well, at the show KMOX. You should follow it.
Yeah.
Do you follow it, Amy?
I follow it because one of my favorite things to do is be involved and take part in all the polls that we issue.
Oh my God, and you won another poll.
I do. And we're going to have another
you
one.
won one.
Oh, I won one.
You won on Friday.
It.
Oh my God, it was really bad. It was embarrassing.
Crushed.
And I knew that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to pick Go Crazy,
that's
folks.
That's exactly
so
right.
We had on Friday, because it was the start of the playoffs, and very quickly it was the end of the playoffs. Yeah. But we did our Cardinals postseason moments draft.
Best postseason moments.
And Amy just dominated. And she went number 1 overall, and she took Ozzie in 1985, the home run.
Well, I got Ozzie and the Go Crazy folks call, but then I also got
David Freese
home
too.
run because you picked the triple ahead of the home run.
No. I picked Albert's home run in Houston.
That's right.
In 2005.
That's right.
Yeah. And I really screwed up on that one. And it's a great one, and I love it. I don't know why I didn't go with David Freese first.
Are we doing a poll on the seasons today?
We are going to.
Okay.
Yes, because we have to talk about this. It does feel, and I think we have this conversation every year, like, oh my gosh, we're getting to Christmas season earlier and earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The displays are up. The Christmas music starts earlier. And Amy and I think are in lockstep on this.
Mm-hmm.
Love this part of the year.
Love
it. It's the best. And I think it's indisputably the best time. This from October through December, without question, and there is no debate on this, is the best quarter of the year.
Yeah. So the poll, which we'll have up at the show KMOX on Twitter, is really less of a poll. It's really just judging whether you're right or wrong. But we'll put it up there anyway because this is the best season.
Well,
also,
because it is the best.
Yeah. And I never want Christmas to actually come because I just love the anticipation of the Christmas season. And I don't want Christmas to be here because then it's over.
We are going to check back in with Colonel Jeff McCausland. We talked to him last week about what's been happening in Ukraine, and there have been some developments overnight, and they're not necessarily good developments. But the Colonel will join us next on KMOX.
The impacts of this storm are historic.
Text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief, which helps people affected by disasters such as Hurricane Ian. Message and data rates may apply. Or go to KMOX.com for additional ways you can help.
In business since 1957, we've seen many competitors come and go. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter with Easter Fence Deck and Renovations. Many companies pass away with the owners, and the customers are left with useless promises and warranties. At Easter, we are in the third generation and have a succession plan. You know we'll be here to honor our warranty, which is the best in the industry, and take care of all of your fence, deck, and outdoor construction needs. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Easter Fence Deck and Renovations, where customers become friends.
Hey, Ed Brock, everybody. If you love Halloween like I do yourself a favor and visit Johnny Brock's Dungeon. Why shop those tiny pop-up shops when you can shop 30,000 square feet of locally owned Halloween fun? We're open all year at I-44 in Jefferson on the edge of Soulard. Johnny Brock's Dungeon, a St. Louis must-see.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. After Halloween, your used jack-o'-lantern and other gourds are great additions to any compost pile. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
This is Debbie Monterey with a real estate update and some insight from my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria told me that sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in this continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as quickly, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also said that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell homes because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, it's crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold, and that's why I strongly suggest you call local real estate expert Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Gloria is so confident that she will sell your home, she'll guarantee in writing upfront to sell it at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy your home herself. Learn more by calling Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Rachel and Dave here for Smart Mouth. Smart Mouth is simply the only mouth rinse you ever need to think about again. Unlike Scope, unlike Listerine, it actually has a chemical reaction that kills bad breath for 12 hours. Use it twice a day and you are covered.
There's so many Smart Mouth products to choose from. They have their dry mouth rinse, their clinical DDS, their original formula, plus whitening toothpaste, and their delicious mints. To learn more, go to smartmouth.com/Glover for a $2.50 off coupon.
CertaPro commercial painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
Power of minimal disruption.
We work with you to ensure a smooth project.
The power of making you look good.
Making sure it's done right, on time and within budget, so every property manager looks like a hero. That's CertaPro Painters.
The power of pro.
Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me, was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit, and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
Serving St. Louis for over 96 years. KMOX.
It is the show on KMOX. Amy Marks, Kors, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler is going to be back tomorrow. We approach the bottom of the hour. And before we get to the news here at the bottom of the hour, we wanted to check back in with Colonel Jeff McCausland, who we spoke to on Friday about what was happening in Ukraine, the situation to date. Well, things have gotten a whole lot worse. And Jeff, we appreciate your time this morning.
Chris, great to be with you.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that. What happened overnight, and I think it's kind of what you talked about on Friday, the possibility that Vladimir Putin was going to escalate things.
Well, that's exactly right. But of course, over the weekend we had this amazing strike on the Kerch Bridge, apparently by the Ukrainians. So they have not accepted credit, though. President Zelensky, in remarks to the nation, said shortly after the attack, things are a bit cloudy down in Crimea right now. And they've already issued a stamp showing the bridge being struck. So it seems like the Ukrainians are enjoying this. And it comes the day after Vladimir Putin's 70th birthday. This bridge of great tactical and operational importance because it's the lifeline between Russia proper and occupied Crimea. So in terms of material, manpower, fuel, et cetera, very important line of communication and supply now cut off to some degree. Symbolically, strategically, it's a tremendous embarrassment for Putin. He made a big deal after the occupation of Crimea in 2014 to build this massive multi-billion-dollar project, and even drove a truck over the bridge at the opening and ceremony. So it's a big slap in the face to him, probably the worst public slap since he witnessed the sinking of the Moskva a few months ago. In response, Putin gave a major speech and said there now will be massive strikes against Ukraine. And overnight, in the last 24 hours, we've seen 84 cruise missile strikes all across Ukraine, 10 cities, ostensibly from the Russian standpoint, these being very precise attacks on critical infrastructure. In reality, we know they hit a child's playground in Kyiv. They hit many apartment buildings throughout major cities across Ukraine, several areas now without power. And we know at least dozens of people have been killed and injured in these particular attacks.
Yes, and President Biden has issued a statement, obviously strongly condemning Russia's missile strikes today across Ukraine, at least 10 different areas, including, as you mentioned, central Kyiv, which is the first major attack on the capital in at least several months. So with the United States, the president issuing a statement, what does this mean for the U.S. in terms of preparation, in terms of offering more weapon systems, weaponry, or does nothing really change for us at this moment? We just keep watching.
Yeah, I think there'll need to be some kind of an American response. You know, Amy, as we like to say, war is a contest of will. And Putin is doing this for two reasons. One, he's embarrassed, he's angry, and he also is being pressured hard by very right-wing xenophobic nationalists in the Russian press and on TV in response to the fact that he's losing on the battlefield. And there's no way he can quickly turn around the situation on the battlefield. So he's trying to respond by striking at the willpower of Ukrainians. So that's the other half of this, to try to see if I can bust the willpower of the Ukrainian people. And at the same time, you know, if you will, I'm escalating. What are you going to do? Is an implicit response to the United States. So I think we're going to hear the United States redoubling its willingness to supply Ukraine with more and more weaponry. We'll probably hear the same sort of solidarity statements that have already from some of our European partners. The last part of this I find really interesting so far, Amy, is I think this is going to be, frankly, detrimental to Mr. Putin in losing more and more support around the world. The annexation of these 4 provinces, which he announced a week or so ago, even though he didn't control those provinces, was not supported around the world. The only country I've seen that has acknowledged that has been North Korea. And in fact, Iran even came out and said that they were not going to accept that the Russians had sovereignty over these particular territories. So those countries like India, countries in Africa, the so-called global south, are not going to fit well with them, these scenes of civilians being killed by these indiscriminate mass attacks on Ukrainian cities.
Could losing public support around the world, and he's already doesn't have much of it, but he could, I think, lose what little he does have. Does that really concern him? Is that the kind of thing that would prevent him from escalating even more than he already has?
I think it could. They really are concerned about this, the constant drumbeat of denunciation that they're receiving in all kinds of international forums, whether it's international organizations, the United Nations, et cetera. That is very detrimental to how they portray this war to their own people. And they're not totally insulated from outside communications and outside information. Number two is whether or not some of these countries then start participating more and more in the economic sanctions that the United States and Western European countries have led, because we're starting to see this having a greater and greater impact on the Russian economy. So the combination of those two things, will that have an effect over time on internal support in Russia as well as the external support around the world, I think are crucial variables that he is putting at risk by the escalation he's now doing.
Talking about the perception of the conflict within Russia, what role or how significant are the clips of some American personalities? I'm specifically thinking of Tucker Carlson, where those clips are being used in Russia's state media. How significant is that?
Oh, it's very significant. I mean, Tucker Carlson's, to my mind, one of the best propagandists the Russians have, because they put tapes of Tucker on Russian TV all the time to demonstrate that this is really what Americans think. Just ignore what Mr. Biden says. So Mr. Carlson is making a very strong contribution to a very aggressive war being persecuted by the Russian Federation, which has resulted in hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent civilians being killed. So that is very, very important. And hopefully over time, some of the people that are involved in that kind of stuff will recognize that, in fact, they are assisting in what is nothing more than the greatest aggression we've seen in Europe since the Second World War.
Colonel McCausland, we appreciate your time as always, and we'll check back in. Hopefully the next developments are not going to be as bad as what we saw overnight.
Thanks a lot.
That is Colonel Jeff McCausland with us here on the show. We got the news coming up, and when that is over, I think we're talking to somebody else. Oh, yeah, we are. We're talking about how great St. Louis is.
Oh.
Seriously.
Oh, good.
We're going to talk about how great St. Louis is after the 11:30 news. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At 11:30, it's a sunny sky, 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. Russia has unleashed a lethal barrage of strikes against multiple Ukrainian cities, smashing civilian targets, including downtown Kyiv. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko says there are casualties and damage to objects of critical infrastructure. He was asked if they're expecting more.
I hope not, but we have to be prepared for more attacks today.
North Korea says its recent barrage of missile launches were the simulated use of its tactical battlefield nuclear weapons to, quote, hit and wipe out potential South Korean and U.S. targets. Amazon says it will invest 1 billion euros or $972 million to add thousands of more electric vans, long-haul trucks, and cargo bikes to its delivery network in Europe. Amazon hoping to purchase more than 1,500 electric trucks, up from 5 in the United Kingdom. Debris on 270 West before McDonald Boulevard has the right lane closed to stall 364 East on the Maryland Heights Expressway on the right shoulder. Weather is sponsored by Metro Transit. This afternoon's high about 82 degrees, according to Dean DeVore. Overnight low 61. Tomorrow showers, even a thunderstorm, and a high of 72. Hey, mechanics, quick question. You getting paid what you're worth? No, let's change that. Metro Transit is now hiring mechanics, starting pay over $30 an hour, full benefits, 401k, signing bonuses, and more. Visit work@metrostl.com today and get your worth. It's sunny and 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Mosby Building Arts.
Mosby Building Arts here with 3 reasons to get new siding on your home. 1. Fix those damaged and faded pieces. 2. Save money on your energy bills. 3. Ramp up your curb appeal. If this sounds good to you, call Mosby Building Arts to get your house looking sharp again.
Clement Auto Group is hosting another trunk or treat for the kiddos.
We're inviting all the listeners to bring their kids, the dogs, and trunk or treat with us on Saturday, October 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m.
Music, game, prizes, and most of all,
lots of candy for your kids.
Come out Saturday, October 22nd to Clement Pre-Owned in Florissant.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
If you own investment rental properties and you've been thinking about selling, we are very interested. The market is very strong. We've been very aggressive with our offers. So if you own a package of single-family houses that you'd like to sell, or one single-family rental property you'd like to sell, apartments or commercial investment property, please reach out and we can provide you a very simple transaction. Klamengroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, 314-946-9999, 946-9999, buying in Missouri and Illinois.
I'm Tamron Hall. Doesn't your family deserve the best? Eggland's best eggs, classic, cage-free, and organic, give you and your family more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Supercomputing helicopters, Lockheed Martin's Raider X and the Sikorsky Boeing Defiant X, will operate as nodes in the U.S. Army's hyper-networked battle space of the future. Lockheed Martin, your mission is ours.
My Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But early detection allowed us to take control of the situation together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Get ready for Monday Night Football as the Chiefs take on the Raiders. Touchdown, Kansas City! Pre-game at 6, kickoff 7:15. And you can hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football, KMOX.
It's the show on KMOX. Amy and Chris are with you today. Kevin Wheeler is going to be back tomorrow. He's had the last couple of days off, and so he will be back on the show on Tuesday. Right now, we are joined by Travis Liebig, who is the CEO of the St. Louis Bank, and we like to talk about all the bad things happening in St. Louis. But we should be talking about some of the really good things that are happening in St. Louis and why this is an area to be celebrated or to at least be appreciated. And Travis joins us now on the show. Good morning, Travis.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. And just recently, there was a piece that you wrote for the St. Louis Business Journal about this city and this area. And the title of it is St. Louis, America's right-sized hidden gem. Why is St. Louis the right-sized hidden gem?
Yeah, well, from my perspective, it is the best of both worlds. You know, you have an amazing city with a lot of history, a lot of great assets that are here, but we all know there's a lot of different municipalities that make up this big region. And, you can have your small town charm with access to the great access that only a major city has. So I think that those two together really is a key to what St. Louis has that most metro areas don't. And I think now that we're all kind of thinking about our homes, our post-COVID world, where do we have value that for our families, the assets that we need, but also just the community feel. And I think community is an overused term, but St. Louis has its own St. Louis community, and then it has its Webster community, it has its Kirkwood community, and it's a really unique thing that I think a strength that some might also say is a weakness from time to time, but I see it as a major, major plus.
Yeah, the focus on community, that is a really important one. And it's funny that you bring it up because my friends and I talk about this a lot. I have a lot of international friends, friends from all over the country, or friends from St. Louis who then move to towns that you would say are sexier towns, whether it's New York City or they move somewhere into the mountains in Colorado, which are great, famous, places that people talk about, people tour, go and travel to. St. Louis is not a sexy city. And I get that in the sense of when you're comparing it to New York or maybe someplace in the mountains or Miami. But I think partly because of that, the people are such a gem in this town that we build really close-knit communities. One of my friends specifically moved from the South Grand area, and that really is such a great neighborhood. And he is in Colorado, and he said if there's one thing that he hasn't found that's quite the same, it's the South Grand community that he had, and he wishes he could pick them up and move them to Colorado. The same thing with a friend, my friend who lives in Soulard. You have those neighborhoods, and I think maybe partly because we're not necessarily as big and sexy as Miami or New York, the people are just world class.
Yeah, I will echo that completely. I grew up in a small river town, Quincy, Illinois, a few hours north of St. Louis, and moved to the St. Louis area.
I've been there.
About 20 years. Yeah, I'm proud to say I'm from there, and proud to be an adopted St. Louis. And I've lived here longer than I did growing up in Quincy. But I always looked up to St. Louis. We would come down once or twice a year for a Cardinal game, or to go to the zoo, or go to the Arch, and it was intimidating from the outside looking in of the big city of St. Louis. But we always looked up to it, and it drew me here. And when I moved here for school and then got into the banking business right out of college, I was shocked and surprised to find, to kind of echo your comments, just how much of a difference the people here make. So while I was intimidated, didn't know people from this area, got to know people very well, and then found to be very welcoming. But a lot of that small town charm, plus what I would call the major benefits of a major metro area. And I think that is the thing that I think St. Louisans should remember is, just like this kid that was coming from Quincy, Illinois here once a year, he knew St. Louis as the Arch. He knew it as downtown. He didn't know it as Kirkwood or Brentwood or Richmond Heights, or name the community. And when we're in St. Louis, I find it interesting that if I ask, people where they're from, they'll say, oh, I'm from Frontenac, or I'm from South City, which is good. But when we're outside of town, there's only one place that we say we're from, and that's St. Louis. And I think that is the regional mindset that we have to remember, that, the downtown area is the front door, and it's part of our brand that we have to protect to make sure that, our own local communities are, I think, further bolstered by the major benefits that we have from a national acclaim of St. Louis, Missouri. So anyway, there's a lot of topics in there that we could probably spend all day talking about, but I'm proud to be here and proud to be part of the community now.
One of the challenges that this area faces, and I wonder if you are if you're not the norm, because a lot of the people that I talk to from outside this area don't think a lot of it. Whether they're from LA or Chicago or Boston, whatever it is, there just isn't a great perception about this area. Is there and there is a lot of potential, as you wrote in the piece, there's a lot of potential that St. Louis has. Do you see a changing of that in any way? That perception that maybe this isn't just the kind of city to ignore? Are there reasons for people to no longer feel that way about St. Louis?
I do. And actually, I feel that momentum. And I think that momentum is picked up I would say at least over the last 5 to 10 years. And, coming out of COVID, I'm now traveling a little bit more for work and pleasure, but I always ask these questions when I'm in other areas. And I was in Jackson Hole over the summer. I was in Nashville a few weeks ago, and I'll ask as many people as I can, what's the first thing you think of? I am pleasantly surprised to hear positives more than I do negatives from the outside of the region. And in my head, and I think us as St. Louisans assume that everybody was going to think of crime and just the worst case scenario. But over the last several years, I feel like it's been the opposite. It's, oh, I was through there recently, or, oh, this restaurant, or this concert, or, it's usually the music and the arts and some of the history that I think pull people in. But yeah, there's a positive brand that's building, albeit needs to be stronger and needs to be more, I think, pronounced. But even internally here in the boundaries of the St. Louis area, I'm 42, and I feel like the generation that I'm a part of, whether that be the 10 years older or 10 years younger, but that class in between, for the first time since I've lived here, I feel like there's a lot of local mindset that's changing too, of the positive attributes of what St. Louis now can be, not what it was. I think we're passing past the point of, we used to talk about what we used to be, almost in apologizing it. But now I feel like there is we need more of it. But yeah, I will say both locally and outside of the area, more positives than negatives. And I hope that continues to be contagious.
So how do we accelerate it? How do we make that feeling, grow and grow quicker?
Yeah, I think, and I think what Greater St. Louis Inc. is doing is a great concerted effort for our local brand and all the things that are happening in St. Louis. So kudos to Jason and the team there and what they're working on. I think more of us can carry that locally. And I think the local discussion has to happen more so than even the national fronts. What I mean by that is, I find a lot of times that people, and we're all creatures of habit. So if we're out in the county and we're in our own local community, there's not enough compelling reasons to get downtown. And I think that, with food, I think just a local cultural flair, things that need to be downtown to be a gravitational pull more than just sporting events, is something that lacks. But I think we're kind of self-fulfilling our own prophecy if we sit back here in the county and say, well, I'm not going to go downtown because it's dangerous. I'm down there a lot. And yes, there's things to be aware of, but it really isn't. It's, in my opinion, a dangerous place to be. But when we're talking to people, well, I'm not going down there. So I think we are almost self-fulfilling a prophecy here that we need not do. I think it should be the other way. And I think there is a vibe in the spirit of St. Louis, overused term, but bringing that spirit back of civic pride and making it quote unquote cool to be downtown for work, play, and living, I think is the key to the success. And that's where close to $10 billion of development is taking place right now. And I firmly believe if we had a time machine and we could go 5 years into the future, we'd see things that are quite a bit different than they are today in a very, very positive way. That's my hope.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point about the self-fulfilling prophecy, also some of that apologetic tone and looking back. I do think I myself, as a lifelong St. Louisan, am full of contradictions in the sense that I love St. Louis. I have never been one to talk about, oh, I'm getting out. I've never felt that way. All my friends are here. My family is here. I'm in love with Forest Park, and I'm down there every day. And at the same time, I do complain about the crime or dysfunctional governments in the county and the city. And it's easy to lose that perspective that St. Louis is great and is a great place to live. And you bring this up in your piece, that you do have so many of the features of a big city, whether it's the sports, the arts, the museum, the zoo, Forest Park, my goodness, the greatest city park in the country, and also kind of that small town feel and value. You get a lot of bang for your buck in St. Louis, and that combination really appeals to a lot of people. So many people who have moved from bigger cities to St. Louis have talked about, hey, the community's great and it's easy to live here, relatively speaking. The traffic is not like DC traffic. The prices are not New York City prices. That's a big deal when you're talking about raising a family and building a life.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, there's a lot of different indexes that get measured around the country. And, That can be the CPI. It can be a lot of these different economic indexes. I wish there was a way to somehow quantify the quality of life index, because home affordability, I think the local culture, the community, I think the sporting events, the institutions that are here, and being able to start and create, a family here, bringing, new opportunities to St. Louis. There's a lot of things that are happening, and somewhere, some way, sometime, I think we need to figure out this quality of life index, because I think St. Louis would rank towards the top, if not the top, because of all the attributes you just described.
Travis, we appreciate your time today. We are obviously all here have a vested interest in what happens in this area. So the best of luck to you and to us in trying to help move the region forward.
I agree. We all play a part, and we all can do even more to spread the good news. So thank you for the time. Have a great week, and enjoy this fall weather, and proud to be a St. Louisan, and let's keep it going.
Travis Liebig is the CEO of St. Louis Bank with us here on KMOX.
Did you just wish us luck?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Can't I?
You can. Good luck to us.
Good luck to us. What?
No,
I want us to have good luck.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. There was a recent Washington Post opinion piece, and it said, "Flyover country no more. Middle America is having a moment," for a lot of the same reasons. Some different.
Did they mention us?
Some more political. It did mention St. Louis, but mainly because we flooded.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I know.
Hey,
it was talking about how middle
no press
America,
is bad press.
Yeah, good and bad has been in the news, because Kansas obviously had the big abortion decision when the voters went to the polls, and historically red Kansas with a pro-choice vote. So they had a moment there. Obviously, good and bad with some of the headlines. Middle America being a great place to raise a family. There were also some flooding issues, as we talked about. But Middle America is having a moment.
I hope we continue to have many, many moments. We need good moments.
You have the perspective too of a Chicagoan and St. Louis, where I've lived in St. Louis my whole life.
Yeah, that's true. I did live outside, and there's a little bit of a rivalry there, where people who live in that city in particular already don't think very highly of this area. And I think a lot of it goes back to sports, to be honest. I think it starts there, but it doesn't really end there either. There are people, like I said, I have friends from Los Angeles and friends from the East Coast, and there's just this sense from a lot of them that this area is kind of meh. And I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be better. I want people to, when they think of this area, think, oh, that's a cool place and like to visit.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan Hamilton, who's a comedian, he's from Idaho, and he moved to New York. And he said when he tells people that he's from Idaho, they say, oh, that's in the Midwest. And he says, no, it's not. And they assure him that it is in the Midwest. And he said, that's because in New York, the United States is divided into the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Midwest.
Yeah.
Everything in between California and New York is the Midwest.
Yeah, I get that. But again, I think that sentiment is from I friends in Arizona, in Phoenix, who feel the same way. Yeah. So I want it to be different, and I hope we do continue to move the region forward. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji, and we are going to tell you why nobody likes late night shows anymore. That's next on KMOX.
Hey, Matzo Matt back at it for Brewpub Pizza. The month of October is the creme de la creme in the pizza industry. It's the big game for all things pizza. It's National Pizza Month, so it's about time you roll out the red carpet that leads right to your freezer and usher in a Brewpub Lots of Matzo Pizza. In case you haven't heard, Brewpub pizzas are made in the heart of pizza-loving land, Kaukauna, Wisconsin. So that means, yes, Brewpub pizzas are loaded with award-winning Wisconsin mozzarella cheese, high-quality toppings, and zesty, flavorful sauce. So join the National Pizza Month fun and put a Brewpub Lots of Matzo Pizza on the menu tonight. Available at your local grocery store.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold at Newbold Toyota. Since we led the St. Louis Metro in Toyota sales in August, the factory gave us a whole bunch of cars. So come see us. Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You've probably heard I've been a patient at Ophthalmology Associates for more than 25 years and getting excellent eye care from the doctor's doctors. But things have changed in the last quarter century. Today, the doctors can prescribe eye drops that'll replace your reading glasses. These eye drops allow you to look at things up close without using your reading glasses. There are other new exciting developments in treatment of the eye. You can learn more at Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 and yourEyeDoc.com. From glasses, LASIK, or cataract surgery, and anything related to eye care, doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer are among the best. And if cataracts are a problem, these doctors use the most advanced multifocal lenses to minimize the need for glasses after surgery. In Sullivan, St. Peter's, and their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester, 314-966-5000 and yourEyeDoc.com.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
Caring for residents for over a century, Manor Grove is committed to making everyone feel at home. Choosing a home for your loved one to reside is an important decision and shouldn't be taken lightly. Manor Grove makes your decision easy with medical professionals and staff who care for residents like family. If you are looking for a caring and quality nursing home and rehab facility, please visit our website, manorgrove.com, and take our virtual tour. Manor Grove, over a century of caring. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
Hey, St. Louis, as we cheer on our boys in red, don't forget to turn to our other winning team in air conditioning, Rheem. Your AC unit has been working hard all summer. So find a pro at Rheem.com now and schedule your seasonal service today. Rheem dealers are the true St. Louis cooling experts, selling Forbes-rated #1 equipment in your homes. Call a Rheem Pro partner today. Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
The Musial Awards return to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 19th. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event. It's the feel-good night of the year, a show you don't want to miss. Tickets at musialawards.com.
The Center for Hearing and Speech empowers communication. To see how they can help you, call 314-968-4710 or go to chsstl.org.
United Way of Greater St. Louis is celebrating a century of helping people in our region with essential needs, early childhood and youth success, health and well-being, jobs and financial mobility, and community stability and crisis response. Find out how you can help our community at helpingpeople.org.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Laurie Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
Join us Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for Your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Back to the show.
Yeah, the show!
With Amy, Chris, and Kevin on KMOX.
Amy pulled a muscle. She pulled a muscle dancing.
That's right.
This is somebody who runs marathons.
Well,
and what you did was you pulled a muscle dancing.
I did, because the song says that Shorty got low. And when Shorty got low, I pulled a muscle.
There should be somebody on the dance floor when that part of the Shorty got low, and you go, there's a person who sits,
jeans, boots
and
with the fur.
and a person who monitors the situation, and when you start to get low, he's like, not you.
Yes, when
Yeah,
Shorty
you
got
don't do
low,
this.
I pulled a muscle. But I did dance for 5 hours. I danced the entire time. I was the hit of the wedding. Update for loyal KMOX listeners. Will from Bloomington Will from Bloomington, my cousin, who has was talked about often on the Charlie Brennan Show and with the Vice President of Fun of the St. Louis Cardinals, Dan Farrell. Will from Bloomington got married, and that's where I was this weekend at his wedding.
In Bloomington.
In Bloomington.
Illinois.
Your alma mater?
Yeah. Bloomington Normal, Illinois State University.
Illinois State University.
Yep.
And I danced for 5 hours. I was a hit, I have to say. But when Shorty got low, I pulled a muscle.
You're such a clown.
My Uncle Bob was really impressed.
Oh man, I always wish I had an Uncle Bob.
This Uncle Bob
Wait
is
a minute.
the best Uncle Bob.
Do I have a Robert? Yeah, I got an Uncle Robert, so I guess I could call him Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob is so much fun. He's hilarious, and he was dancing for a bit, and we had a great time. And yeah, I did run that morning. So I ran in Forest Park 18 miles that morning, and then drove to Bloomington.
You did?
I did.
Oh.
And then went to the wedding, and then we danced for 5 hours. Also, their cake, they had little bundt cakes. So everybody got their own little bundt cake, and they're all like stacked up, and it was vanilla and chocolate.
I think that's adorable.
It was delicious. So on the floor, instead of dancing with a drink, I dance with cake.
You can't have a bad time in Bloomington Normal.
Well, I did not have a bad time. I had a great
I
time.
don't think I've ever had a bad time in Bloomington Normal.
Congratulations to Will and Haley.
Congratulations to them and their cakes, their bundt cakes. We'll recap what's happened on the show. Besides Amy's pulled muscle, that's when we come back. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on the show.
At Diamonds Direct, we're so proud of our value and our selection. But what's most important is our service to you. Our focus has never been to make a sale. It's always about making a friend for life, welcoming you to our family, and taking care of you through all of life's journeys and celebrations. It's why we provide the most transparent education in our industry, helping you make the smartest purchase every time. It's why we offer free cleaning, free sizing, free maintenance for life with any purchase. It's why we're happy to buy your diamond back at a price that's 10% more than you paid us when you're ready to upgrade. It's why, in honor of Bosses Day this weekend, we're honoring you, our most important boss. Come join us this Friday and Saturday, and let us tell you again how much we appreciate you. Take advantage of our free services, and think about taking advantage of that 110% upgrade guarantee before the holiday rush. Diamonds Direct salutes you, our customer, and we thank you always for letting us be a part of your life's biggest moments.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but they cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes, cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's sunny and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. Deadly explosions have hit several cities in Ukraine, including the capital, Kyiv, following months of relative calm there. The attack comes after a bridge linking Crimea and Russia was bombed over the weekend. CBS News foreign affairs analyst Pamela Falk is at the UN.
On Monday afternoon, the UN General Assembly begins a debate in the emergency special session with a vote expected Wednesday on a resolution that was vetoed by Russia in the Security Council to condemn the latest referenda and annexation of Ukrainian land, and that says Russia should get out of Ukraine. The key to the vote is whether or not the U.S., Ukraine, and Europe can garner as many votes as its February vote to condemn the war, with Russia lobbying for an anonymous vote to give cover to countries voting against the measure.
Few details are known about last night's hit and run in South City.
St. Louis City Police have not released the name of the pedestrian hit and killed. Police are looking for a red sedan that was traveling west on Gravois at Spring. A preliminary investigation shows the victim was standing either in the parking or traffic lane when the red sedan struck her, then fled. It happened a half mile from the Carpenter Library branch, where city officials held a meeting a week ago to discuss traffic calming ideas. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A new tick has arrived in Missouri. Should we be concerned about the longhorn?
So this was something that we weren't necessarily expecting to find.
Veterinary pathologist Rosary Larardi discovered the tick in Lynn County on cattle.
It is capable of transmitting a different infection called Theileriosis. Specifically, this is a Theileria orientalis, a certain type called Ikeda.
She says it's a disease in which red blood cells are attacked, causing a cow to not be hungry, which can be fatal, but not always. Although they found a longhorn tick, there are no known cases of the disease in Missouri. Today is World Mental Health Day, meant to spread awareness and encourage people to seek help.
If you find yourself struggling, experts say you're not alone.
The stats are similar in the US and the UK. About 1 in 6 people every week experiencing diagnosable levels of mental illness.
Britain's Mental Health Foundation says the first step is breaking the taboo around getting help.
The main stigma is that it's your fault if you're struggling.
How can someone recognize that they need help?
Sleep is quite often the first one. Any changes in behavior, motivation at work, being invested in the relationships that we have.
Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
The First Mid-Bank and Trust Business Desk, time to spend.
Holiday deals are coming back, bringing a measure of relief for shoppers squeezed by inflation. According to Adobe Analytics, tech gadgets to sporting goods will see massive online discounts, with the best bargains likely in late November. Walmart is already pushing deals on computers and toys. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 259 points to 29,037. Now we've got a crash 70 east on the ramp from I-170, debris 270 west before McDonald Boulevard, the right lane, stall 44 west at 141 on the right shoulder. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company.
You're looking at a beautiful, warm afternoon ahead with a high in the low 80s, low 60s, mild tonight. Not as warm tomorrow with some showers and even a rumble of thunder, high 72. And then Wednesday near 70 with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, cooler. Dry, low to mid-60s Thursday, Friday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Sunny, 75 in Florissant, 76 St. Peter's, 73 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than $4? 314-441-4444.
It's the second half of the show on KMOX. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, your hosts today and every day. And usually Kevin Wheeler is with us, but he is not today. He'll be back tomorrow.
He will be back. And happy birthday to his lovely wife, Susan.
Yeah.
They were celebrating her birthday.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good husband. I wish he was a better friend, you know?
A better friend and co-host we could wish for. Alas, we have Kevin.
Yeah, we got Kevin. Well, you know what else we have? No more
I
baseball.
was going to say, not the playoffs.
We have no
Yeah.
more baseball. The season came to an end on Saturday. The Cardinals dropped the first 2 games of a best-of-3 series against the Phillies, who will go on to play the Braves in Game 1 of the division series tomorrow afternoon. That should be us.
Mm-hmm.
That should be us. After 1 o'clock is going to be the first pitch. So we talked a little bit about that today. In fact, a lot about that today with Tom Ackerman. We led off the show with it. A very disappointing end to this season. And we went over the reasons why. The offense disappeared. The 2 big bats in the order were non-existent, really, unfortunately. Just 1 hit between Goldschmidt and Arenado. And then, of course, the implosion in Game 1. So not the way I saw this one going.
No, and speaking of the implosion in Game 1, going into that game, when the Cardinals were up by 2 or more runs, through 8 innings in the postseason,
Yeah,
they were 93-0.
that's right.
93-0 in franchise history. Now they are 93-1 after that implosion.
So what you're saying is the worst possible time to lose that lead, huh?
Yeah, I would say so. Also, Jason Stark just tweeted that he goes, "Here's a complete list of every manager in Major League Baseball history to take over a team at least 7 games under 500 in midseason and then go on to win a postseason series with that team." You ready for the complete list?
Yep.
Rob Thompson, the 2022 Phillies. That's the end of the list.
And he just got an extension, too. A couple of years.
So there you go.
Good for him.
It is
Great.
so weird, though, the buildup. And as Tom Ackerman pointed out, the Cardinals secured a position in the postseason. They, after those incredible series against the Yankees and the Braves, kind of went into not conservation mode, but, you know, you're preparing for the playoffs. You're resting a few guys, making sure you're ready to go. And they were not ready to go. And so that whole buildup, and it just ends. Kevin, we had no playoff games with Kevin in the studio, like to talk about them, because he left on
That's
Friday.
right.
And
You know
he's
what?
back tomorrow, and the entire postseason has come and gone.
So let's just, when he comes back in tomorrow, let's just not acknowledge it so he doesn't get to talk about him.
Yeah. One
we
of
do that?
our loyal listeners said they heard Kevin yelling from Chicago. But that's just normal.
Well, I just heard him talking from Chicago.
Yeah.
Wasn't even yelling.
Yeah, an end of an
yeah,
era. Of course, we acknowledge end of an era with Yadier Molina.
That's right.
Albert Pujols. And I went to the game on Friday, and it was super fun through 8 innings. And as we were chanting, Yadi, Yadi, I remember thinking, this is the last time I'll be able to do this at Busch Stadium,
Because you were never going to get tickets again.
because I was never going to get
That's
tickets
right.
again. No, this could be the last time. And as it turned out for me, it was.
It's unfortunate. And I know they got hits in their final at bats, which was good. Just wish we would have seen a little bit more baseball. And I don't know. I'm really disappointed in a lot of different things that happened, but there's work to do during the off season, and we'll see how the Cardinals address the needs they have going into 2022. But it just feels weird that they're not even going to play in a division series after how good they were, especially in the second half of the season. We covered what's happening in Ukraine with Russia escalating attacks in civilian areas. That happening overnight. And it's not a surprise. We talked to Colonel Jeff McCausland about it. It's not at all stunning to know that Vladimir Putin has escalated things because he's losing. He's losing on many different fronts, whether it's image, whether it's actually on the battlefield, whether it's not having enough personnel and personnel who really want to fight for the cause. I mean, there are some who believe in it, but then he just doesn't have enough of those, it seems. So he's escalating the attacks in a really a terrorist kind of way.
Right, because we talked about the bridge. Ukraine has not officially taken credit for blowing up this critical bridge leading to Crimea. But it was a big public victory for Putin to have this bridge. And as Colonel Jeff McCausland pointed out, he rode in a truck across the bridge, I guess, when it was completed.
Yeah.
So this bridge was destroyed, and Vladimir Putin has escalated attacks. He has hit at least 10 different areas of Ukraine, including the capital city of Kyiv, which has not taken this level of attack in at least several months. And I asked Colonel McCausland about American personalities, a handful of American personalities, specifically one, Tucker Carlson, being used on Russian state media. And afterwards, and let me say, Colonel McCausland said that is a huge deal. We've talked so much about how Russians perceive this conflict, whether they see it as a justified war or whether they realize that Vladimir Putin is a maniac, an egomaniac who is trying to revive the USSR. But you have personalities like Tucker Carlson with pro-Putin propaganda that they're spewing forth, and that's being used on Russian state media. And he said it is a big deal because the Russian media, state-controlled media, is trying to say, hey, this is how Americans really view this. Americans are really on our side. Forget Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden's saying one thing, but here's what the people think.
They don't trust Joe Biden. And my question to you was, during the commercial break, how do you live with yourself if you know that your face and your words are being used to defend war crimes, the killing of children, raping and torturing women, children, killing men and torturing men in Ukraine? I mean, I don't know how you live with yourself.
Well, there are a number of different explanations, I think, that are possible for that kind of behavior. One is that you truly believe what's happening over there is righteous, which is, I mean, if that's what you believe, I don't know how to dissect your brain because I don't know how you reach that conclusion. The other is that he doesn't really think that what he has to say has any standing over there and is not helping the cause in any way, and that what he's doing is simple entertainment. And it's just entertainment. It's not anything more than that. My guess is that's probably where he falls, that it's just he thinks, I'm just doing a show. I'm doing a talk show, and it doesn't matter what I do because I'm here trying to entertain the viewers. That's it. So I don't know if it's anything else, but I think it's probably one of those two
It's
things.
just beyond comprehension because even within the United States and the division between red and blue, and he can, it's one thing to say, okay, you're defending Trump, you're talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and how you see the liberal bias in the media. That's one thing. I think that's very damaging, and obviously we saw that it was. We look at January 6th. But even that, to me, is different than defending an actual war criminal who is committing genocide and murder and destroying an entire country. That blows my mind.
Yeah, I personally couldn't do it. I just that couldn't be me.
Yeah.
I don't care what the paycheck's like. I couldn't do. I couldn't see those images and think that I was endorsing that in any way.
And even if you think
I couldn't do it.
Right. And even if you think, oh, well, they're taking my words out of context. If what you're saying on a nightly basis
is being taken out of context and used.
And it's only you.
It's only you. Yeah.
What you might want to readjust or reassess what you were saying.
And honestly, I'll go a step further. I know there are people who work for him, who work at that network, who are younger, who just want to be in the business and they're going to do whatever it takes to be in the business. But I couldn't live with myself.
Mm-mm.
They should all walk out.
Right.
They should all get up and walk out.
Because
like, I'm not doing this broadcast with you. I'm not helping you do these things. I'm just not helping you push this nonsense any longer.
It's different. It's again, you can have strong feelings about partisan politics, and I do.
Fine.
But this is next.
It's war crimes.
Level.
It's atrocity.
Yes.
And there's no defense of it.
Yeah.
This is all very simple. Ukraine is a country. Russia invaded it. That's it. They invaded a sovereign nation. That's all there is to it. There is nothing more.
American security does depend heavily on European security, and European security depends on territorial integrity. Countries and borders have to mean something. I would think
I agree.
that Tucker Carlson would agree with that. Isn't he the one that talks about the importance of borders?
Oh, and I'm sure he has, and in fact, I think he has in the past gone off on appeasement. Like what? So, well, if Ukraine, if they really could stop all of this just by giving Russia what they want. No, absolutely. Because we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
This country wouldn't do that if we were invaded. There's no way we'd say, okay, well, what do you want to stop attacking us? There's just no chance that would happen. So why would we expect another country to do that?
If negative partisanship is driving you to try to defend a war criminal,
Bad.
It's bad.
Yeah,
It's bad.
and you should feel bad, and he probably doesn't. We also talked about this city. We talked to Travis Liebig of St. Louis Bank, who's really wanting this, along with Greater St. Louis Inc., to make this region better. And there are things to tout here. There are reasons to be excited about St. Louis. We got a lot of issues that I think we have to work through, and all of us want to work
County
through those
and
things.
city.
Yeah, both. Like the entire area needs to work on some things, but we could make this region attractive outside of this area and within it, because there are a lot of people who look at the city of St. Louis who live in the county, who live out in West County, who don't think much of downtown. We're just hoping perceptions change here.
Yeah. No, and I think like you said, there's so much potential here. And not just potential, there's so much already here.
A texter from a 314 said, could not agree more with that segment. I was talking with a family from Manchester, England, who was here on vacation at 9 Mile Garden, and they could not believe how, quote, smart the city and downtown areas looked.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it's something like sharp, like smart and sharp.
Oh.
Like they're just cool venues, amenities. And that is, I mean, that's a surprise in the sense that, just being honest, because we have focused a lot on trash and how things get kind of out of control, a little bit of lawlessness and a lot of trash. And Charlie Brennan obviously made that his cause to help clean up those areas. So it looks like they saw some of the highlights of St. Louis, which is awesome. And we do have some great big city features with a small town feel and relatively small town pricing. This is a great city. It's affordable. It's doable for families.
When we come back, we will talk over some of the comments made by Eric Schmidt, who is running for office here in the state of Missouri. We'll get those comments, and we'll discuss that coming up next. Amy Marks Core's Chris Ranji on the show on KMOX.
And if you own a business and it's been a bumpy ride for you in the past couple of years, from the COVID pandemic, shutdowns, restrictions, supply chain issues, inflation, I could keep going. You obviously know it. You've experienced it. I've got some good news. If your business has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past couple of years, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. Now, this isn't a loan. You don't have to worry about a payback. It's simply a refund of your taxes. The hard part is getting your hands on it, right? It can be a little intimidating dealing with the government and taxes, and you want to make sure you're doing it right. Go to getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys they have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program and have already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. They do all the work with no charge up front. Simply, they share a percentage of the cash they get for you. To find out if your business qualifies and to learn more, go to getrefunds.com.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey, and I see clearly thanks to Doctors Birdie and Malhotra. You can too. Go to youridoc.com today or call 314-966-5000.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Connect with KMOX on air, online, 1120 a.m., 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Matt Pauley is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We will talk over the finish to the Cardinals season. He was there, and he'll give us his thoughts on how it ended and what happens now moving forward. Though I'm pretty stuck on how it ended and the unfortunate nature of the ending of the Cardinals season. So he will join us after 12:30. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on the show. Kevin Wheeler is going to be back tomorrow. And over the weekend, we heard from the nominee for U.S. Senate in Missouri, one of them, and that is Eric Schmidt, who's running as a Republican, as everybody knows. Right now, he is currently the state's attorney general, Amy, and he was talking with reporters about
a Belgian television crew,
a Belgian television crew of reporters,
which is also just a surprising phrase that they were there.
And it was a private event that he was at. And he talked to them, and he discussed the culture wars, quote, culture wars that are going on in this country and how children at school are under threat.
Yeah, so the Belgian television crew was reporting on culture wars in the U.S., and they asked Eric Schmidt if children were, quote, under threat in schools. And Schmidt said, quote, I think what's happened in a lot of our school districts is crazy. We've exposed a lot of them with this radical ideology, critical race theory, and people who tell you it's not happening in our schools. That's not truthful. That's not truthful at all. End quote.
Okay. Here's my problem with that. Show me. It's the show me state, right? Show me the evidence that this is happening in schools in Missouri. And that it's even not just if it's happening on a level that's significant, but that it's happening at all. Like where is this happening? Where is this radical ideology taking place? Because I think for a politician, it's easier to throw stuff like this out there, throw it against the wall, know that it's going to work for a lot of people. You hear the term dog whistle a lot. This is the kind of thing that gets a response from people. And I think it's, for me, I happen to believe it's irresponsible to throw these sorts of things out there because all it does is create discourse that's dishonest. Because where is this happening, and what exactly is being taught in schools
Well,
that is so detrimental to kids?
what's problematic is there are terms being used and people don't understand the definitions of those terms. And then they use those terms incorrectly, even in an area where, let's say, we're looking at curriculum in our schools and it's just different from district to district. There are changing curriculums. The idea of critical race theory gets down to critical theory. And there is critical theory. I mean, Karl Marx and different Marxist theories, right, are critical theories. It's looking at how class determines the course of human events. And with critical race theory, it's looking at how race does that. Now, this is a graduate level idea, and it can't.
Which means way past like undergrad college. Like, we're not talking about junior highs and grade schools here.
Right. To put it in perspective, again, one person who talks in depth about critical race theory is David French, and he said he was introduced to it at Harvard Law School. So it's something that can't easily be reduced to, oh, well, this is critical race theory. But I think what he's referring to by using that phrase is how big of a role is race playing in different subjects, different matter. And what it means by that is, are we looking at dismantling certain pillars? Like if you're looking at math, are they saying in the curriculum we're dismantling math as a symbol of white supremacy? Well, I don't think that's what they're saying in the Missouri school system. We have seen different theorists look at what you would view as objective, like math, and say, well, that is actually a product of race. And that can be very, very complicated. And I think what people do is they take that out of,
in the weeds. It's not being taught to children.
They take it out of context, right? And they say, like, well, this is what they're teaching in kindergarten. And that's just not true.
I get it. Man, I told you that I couldn't even get to recess because I couldn't figure out what 6 times 7 was.
I think...
Like, we're gonna explain these complicated math
obviously,
things.
we
Come
don't
on,
have
man.
time now. And I think critical race theory, it can be used as a tool, but it doesn't encapsulate the American totality. And
But
that
it works.
discussion is a much bigger discussion.
I think the discussion is it works. It works on people. And they're
Using
going
the
to
phrase, you mean?
using the
Using
phrase.
the phrase.
It works on people. They're going to hear it and they're going to overreact and they're going to freak out. So, well, when we come back, we're going to talk to Matt Pauley about the Cardinals after the news here on KMOX.
All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Odyssey has news that hits home in your local area and around the country. Get local news, traffic, and weather from stations near you. Get national news from CNN, Fox News Radio, and more. And explore the biggest news podcasts like The Daily Punch, Pod Save America, and The Daily, AUDACY. Find all the news that matters to you in a universe of audio. Odyssey.
Do your homework. Check us out on the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List. Hi, I'm Chuck Easter with Easter Fence Deck and Renovations. We can stand the scrutiny and encourage it. Don't just look at the ratings, but read the reviews. You'll find that we are who we say we are, a company that is focused on doing what's right every time. We never cheat, and we never cut corners. With Easter, your fence, deck, sunroom, or awning project will be completed with unmatched craftsmanship and at a fair price. Call 314-892-8500 or easterfence.com.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Let's talk real estate for a minute. The St. Louis market is kind of tricky for home sellers right now, with home values going down and not selling as quickly. Now is not the time to risk losing precious equity on your home. This is Debbie Monterey, and I always recommend calling Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's the best. She's experienced every type of market, both good, great, and the not so good. So before you list your home for sale, call Gloria, and here's why. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed in writing. Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of buyers in her database. In fact, your home may already be sold. Gary and Angela called Gloria and sold their home even before it listed because Gloria had several buyers looking for a home in that area. Call Gloria Lou today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
At 12:30, it's sunny and 76 degrees downtown at the Arch. Russia has retaliated for what it claimed was a Ukrainian terrorist attack on a critical bridge by unleashing its biggest and most widespread attacks against Ukraine in months. The lethal barrage against multiple cities smashed civilian targets. It killed at least 11 people, knocked out power and water, and shattered cars and buildings. Deadly demonstrations against Iran's ruling regime are into their fourth week. The unrest began after a 22-year-old died in the custody of Iran's morality police. CBS's Roxana Sabiri reports.
Different ethnic groups are also involved, and just today, videos posted on social media show workers at the site of natural gas refineries in southwestern Iran joining in the protest movement. They're seen shouting, "Do not fear, we are all together."
FEMA is setting up shop at the Home Depot in Florissant following the summer's flooding. They're providing free information about how to make your home stronger and safer. FEMA mitigation staff will be available daily from 9 till 7 starting today until Friday. We've got a stall 270 north past Page on the right shoulder, stall 44 west at 141 on the right shoulder, crash on 70 east on the ramp from I-170. Watch out there. The weather forecast is sponsored by STL Windows Direct. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. This afternoon, sunshine, high 82, partly cloudy and mild overnight, the low 61, showers, even a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high of 72. Right now it's sunny and 76 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Starting to feel the cold, crisp air seep in? Book your free consultation and save money on your energy bills with our Smart 365 energy efficient windows. Visit us at stlwindowsdirect.com.
STL Windows Direct.
Clement Auto Group is hosting another trunk or treat for the kiddos.
We're inviting all the listeners to bring their kids, the dogs, and trunk or treat with us on Saturday, October 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m.
Music, game, prizes, and most of all,
lots of candy for your kids.
Come out Saturday, October 22nd to Clement Pre-Owned in Florissant.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Spark Co-working St. Louis is a new collaborative workspace located within the PwC Pennant Building in Ballpark Village. The Spark Co-working community supports the thriving St. Louis entrepreneurial ecosystem, where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within one district. The all-inclusive workspace includes furnished month-to-month offices and suites with stadium, city, and arch views, concierge mail service, nitro cold brew coffee on tap, and so much more. Call 314-278-5297 or visit spark-stl.com.
Hey there, it's Hancock and Kelly for First Mid-Bank and Trust, a local bank right here in St. Louis with over 157 years of experience and 19 locations across the greater St. Louis area.
Yeah, First Mid-Bank and Trust is perfect for small business owners. You need a partner that you can count on, and that is First Mid-Bank and Trust, and they're great for everybody, whether you're saving for your first home, paying off debt, or planning for retirement. Check them out online, firstmid.com. You'll be glad you did.
Disasters, floods, crisis. These events can take a toll on your health. Stress, anxiety, and other symptoms are common reactions after a disaster. Show Me Hope, Missouri's crisis counseling program, has free and confidential support for anyone impacted by the severe floods that struck St. Louis in July. Our disaster distress helpline provides immediate crisis counseling. Visit moshowmehope.org to get connected to local providers. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Get ready for Monday Night Football as the Chiefs take on the Raiders. Touchdown, Kansas City! Pre-game at 6, kickoff 7:15. And you can hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football, KMOX.
The pitch by Ueno. Albert is hit high and deep. A home run for Harrison Bader. Yadier Molina has homered. Double play. It's a big fly for Albert Pujols. A home run in the first inning for Goldie.
This is the Redbirds Report.
Cardinals bowed out early of the postseason. It was a very brief one. Game on Friday, game on Saturday, and that is the end of the 2022 campaign for your St. Louis Cardinals. Amy Marks, Coors, Chris Ranji on the show. We are joined by our sports guy, Matt Pauley, who is with us. And Matt, well, obviously that's not the way we wanted things to go.
No, it wasn't. It was pretty surprising. Just 2 games and done. The offense never really
came together. They scored the 3 runs in that first game, one of which was in the 9th inning, but at that 2-0 lead in the 9th when things went bad, and then they can't even score a single run in that second game on Saturday. So really, for Cardinal fans, that's about as disappointing of a way to see a team go out.
When you look at the reasons why the Cardinals exited early, what are the top 2 for you?
It's one, they didn't score enough runs. Like, I don't think you need to look much more past that. Like, I know there's a lot of talk about the 9th inning on game 1, and maybe we'll get into that. But to me, that was a really weird, fluky thing that happens in baseball, and they just didn't score enough runs. It's really hard for me to look past that.
And so let's go ahead and get into game 1, because from my perspective, and this is not second guessing, I was saying it as the game was going on, I did not particularly like the decision to take Quintana out. I know the numbers say 3rd time through the order, but it's playoffs and he was cruising, and it's a little bit different when you've clearly he was efficient in the way he was pitching, and obviously things can change on a dime. I get that. I did not like the idea of taking him out early, and I didn't like the idea of Helsley trying to make a multiple inning save, especially coming off the finger thing. So for me, going to the bullpen as early as they did, it lengthened the game, which led us to the 9th inning going down the way it did.
Yeah, so each of those things, I think when you get into the Quintana decision, again, I hate to just keep harping on the offense, but if that's a 2-0 game, if that's a 3-0 game, he probably stays in that 6th inning, but it's scoreless, and you're playing the Phillies, who of all the teams in baseball, the Phillies are about as good as any team when they're facing a pitcher for a 3rd time. And it's a really tough thing, because we talked about this on the show. As a manager, when you're making decisions, if you pull a pitcher out too early and you pull a pitcher out at the exact right moment, it looks exactly the same. We never know what would have happened, where obviously if you pull a pitcher out too late, then it's pretty obvious in that. So they were trying to pull Quintana out at the exact right moment. Could he finish that 6th inning? Maybe. Might have he given up a home run on the next at bat? Like, that's part of what you're doing as a manager, is evaluating everything that's going on and who's going to be coming up and facing an order for a 3rd time. And the fact that they had not scored any runs really put pressure on that decision to be made, especially in the postseason. And then the 9th inning. So I like kind of the Helsley thing is interesting, because they've used him as a multi-inning reliever a ton this year. Now, your point about coming off the finger injury, I think, is a really valid point. And maybe when he's coming off that finger injury, you should be a little bit more careful with him than you were. But they believe that he is 100%, that there was nothing remaining there. So they were using him the way they used him in the regular season. And when you really break that down, he gets those final 2 outs of the 8th inning without a problem, comes back out for the 9th inning, and he gets the first out of the inning without a problem. The first hit, that JT Realmuto hit, that came off the bat at like 74 miles per hour. I think it had like a 20% hit probability. So really, there should have been 2 outs right there. He gave up a 74 mile per hour, lucky hit. So there's still no red flag. Then he's facing Harper. He's up 1-2 on Harper before he loses them, and it's Bryce Harper. Harper gets walked a lot. You're very careful with him. So there's no concern there either. It's not until that second walk, I think it was to Castellanos, who was the next hitter, that's the moment that I think there's a red flag. I think if I would have been managing that game, because it is the playoffs, when Realmuto gets that hit, I think I get somebody up in the bullpen, just because it's playoffs and weird, crazy things happen. And when that second walk was issued, I'm probably taking Helsley out at that moment, just because you're being overly careful. But, I took calls for 2 hours on Friday night from people wanting Oliver Marmol fired. And I think if we're looking at this from a really rational point of view, to me, Marmol at worst left Helsley in to face one too many batters.
Well, I don't think I can't go down that path. I mean, to want him fired is pretty ridiculous. He did a really nice job with this roster throughout the regular season. He's a young manager. And I would expect that maybe what happened this weekend is a learning experience for him. But I think to say, oh, he should be fired, that's absurd.
Yeah, it is. And I trust me, I got home and I just wanted to drink. I didn't, but I just wanted to, because I spent 2.5 hours talking to people who really wanted Oliver Marmol fired, that they thought the way he managed game one was a fireable offense. And that is crazy to me. And I don't know if that is a vocal minority who just decided they were going to call me on Friday night, or if there's a large percentage of Cardinals fans that felt that way. But that was not an overly mismanaged ninth inning. I believe that if that exact same scenario plays out again in the future after this experience, that maybe he'll have somebody up just a little bit earlier and maybe he'll have a little bit of a quicker hook. But leaving a pitcher in to face one too many batters is not leaving a pitcher in to face 4 or 5 too many batters. Like there were some small things that happened in that inning that maybe could have been done just a little bit differently.
Some people were talking about with Pallante being brought in and the infield also being brought into the game at the same time, obviously going for a very specific throw at the plate, right, to try to beat the run. And Tommy Edman fumbled a bit, didn't get to do the play that he wanted. Do you feel like that move, I know it's pretty specific, but bringing in the infield was heightening the risk a little bit too much?
Yeah, so that's another decision to really dive in on. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like Pallante in that moment, but Pallante did his job. And baseball is one of those sports where the right decision doesn't always work and the wrong decision doesn't always blow up in your face. I didn't like Pallante in that moment. I felt uncomfortable when Pallante came into the game, but Pallante absolutely did his job. Players behind him just didn't make plays. So give a lot of credit to Andre Pallante for getting the types of balls off the bat that you wanted. Now, the reason they weren't playing totally in, they were kind of playing halfway, where you needed the absolute perfect ground ball to be able to turn a double play. And if you didn't get it, you were going to come home. Segura does not strike out. He's one of the lowest strikeout batters in baseball. He's a really, really tough guy to strike out. So with that, you're trying to get the ground ball. At the same time, Segura has pretty good speed, and it's a challenging thing to be able to double him off. If I'm managing right there, I honestly probably still go to Flaherty in that moment, and I'm probably still looking for the strikeout, even though Segura is so tough to strike out. I'm thinking strikeout in that moment because you needed so many things to go right when you're playing the infield in a little bit, and you could go double play, you could go home. There's a risk there of things, playing out the way they did. This is a really long answer, and I'm really getting into the weeds on this one, and I'm sorry. But yeah, but you know what? Let's take a step back. This is also why baseball is beautiful and amazing and fun, because people out there who say baseball is a boring game, they don't see all these things that are happening where we're sitting here talking about the infielders taking 2 steps forward and how that makes all the difference in the world in a game. It's such a beautiful thing.
Well, I don't know. I think it sucks today, to be honest with you. That's not good. Last thing before we let you go, today the Cubs, Jed Hoyer, said that they are going to make a qualifying offer for Wilson Contreras. There is a lot of rumbling, though, that which doesn't mean they're going to keep him. It just means there's a qualifying offer and a team would have to give up a draft pick, all that stuff. I have been hearing a lot, as I know you probably have as well, that there might be some real interest on the part of the Cardinals in acquiring Contreras. Now that Yadier Molina is retired, they're going to need a catcher. And I know a lot of people have very strong thoughts on the possibility of Contreras in a Cardinals uniform.
Yeah, so and we've talked about this a little bit from an offensive profile and just who he is. If you just look at his box score, if you just look at his stats and you don't look at anything else, it'd be amazing. It would be a perfect fit. He's one of those guys that's always annoyed the living you-know-what out of me watching him play with the Cubs. He's never been one of my favorite players to watch, but it's one of those situations where if all of a sudden he's one of your guys, that it's almost you take that a little bit more. I don't know if I should know this, and I don't know if either of you guys are going to know this. And have the Cardinals ever attempted to sign someone who has the qualifying offer? The qualifying offer thing is a relatively new thing in baseball, but the Cardinals are so good about building up through the draft and being able to develop prospects. I'm just maybe it's an obvious one that's just completely lost my head right now. I can't think if they've ever attempted to sign somebody who you have to give up the draft pick to be able to get. But the bottom line is from just a raw profile, Contreras would be an amazing fit for this team.
Yeah, I hope they go that direction because you could certainly use the offense. I mean, you've still got the big boys in the heart of the order. They did not really have a very good Friday and Saturday, but you still have them. They're going to be productive for you, and to add another stick in the order would be, I think, huge for this team. So we'll see what the Cardinals end up doing, and that'll be a really interesting storyline to follow. Matt Pauley, we appreciate it. You're not done with us, though. Just so you know, we're still going to be talking throughout the offseason.
Do I get 2 visits a week? Is it down to
know.
1? Like I'm worried about that. I need to talk to you guys.
If it's up to me, you're on every day.
Okay, boom, there you go.
All right, but I don't get to make the call.
Yeah. Steve said
Sorry.
specifically not every day.
Yeah, sorry, Matt.
Why do you keep having that guy on the radio? That's the sound of radios turning off across the St. Louis metro area.
You hired him. Matt Pauley, appreciate it. Great work this year.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
That is Matt Pauley, KMOX's very own sports guy. Big sports guy. What?
Every time our wonderful boss, Steve, if he has a complaint about something, my only comeback is, well, you hired me.
That's right. Well,
you knew what you were getting.
You know how like the boomers complain about the millennials and the Gen X, like, well, you raised them.
That's exactly
like,
right.
why do you think they're like this? It's because of you.
But Steve never complains about me.
The Gen Xers, the millennials, dude, they're all the same. Well, we'll quit raising them like that then. If you don't like us, if you don't like how we are, feel free to text the show 314-436-7900. You can also voicemail us 314-944-1120, but we really need you to follow the Twitter account at the show KMOX. And the reason we want you to get back to us is because, well, this 3-month period of the year, October, November, December, is by far the best.
100%.
100%. It's better than January through March. It's better than April through June. It's better than July through September, and it's not even close. If you disagree, you can tell us why you disagree.
January, but we need to, if anyone picks January through March as their
St.
favorite,
Patrick's Day.
You got to be somewhat. I mean, well, that's a day, but for that season to be your favorite, I would think that
spring
you're
training starts
at some point.
I mean, there are some things to be excited about. Spring, the good weather is coming, but. There's nothing beats October through December. 314-436-7900. Amy and Chris on the show.
What a great meeting. I loved everything he said. I think we've found our new financial advisor.
I hated him.
What? Why?
He never even looked at me.
It's a story that's been repeated over and over in the financial industry. And it's the reason Deanna Orff at the All Financial Group is so passionate to change it. That's why on October 18th, she's hosting an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's an open forum for you to learn more about markets, investing, and planning for retirement, and a setting where you can ask questions. It's a fact that 90% of women will at some point be solely responsible for their finances. This could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event on October 18th. It's free, but you do need to make a reservation. So call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license 8039738.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold Toyota. Your car is worth more than ever before, so why trust the Amagers for your servicing? Come see the factory-trained experts at Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes, cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
At Archwell Health, the words convenience and care go together like coffee cake and coffee. Just ask Mary, who had a telehealth visit with her usual doctor the same day she woke up with an odd feeling in her chest. Or Robert, who was having issues with transportation and worked with us for rides to his physical therapy sessions. He even got a specialty care referral for other treatment needs last time he was here. We do everything we can to make wellness easy because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
Chad here with claimingroup.com, KLAMEN group.com, where we buy property as is. For those of you not paying attention, the market is changing and prices aren't continuing to rise. If you've thought about selling your house in the past few years, now is the time before the market changes even more. I'm here to make you a cash offer and a quick close on your timeline. 314-946-9999, 314-946-9999. Call today for an as-is offer. claiminggroup.com.
Throw on some flannel, pack a sweatshirt, and head to YMCA Trout Lodge this fall. There you can witness sweeping forests turning red and gold, greet the day in crisp morning air, and stay warm in the evening by the bonfire. Set aside phones while you enjoy unparalleled activities. Saddle up for a trail ride, fire a bow and arrow, fly down a zip line, create an arts and crafts, and much more. All just 90 minutes from St. Louis. Book your YMCA Trout Lodge getaway today. Call 888-FUN-YMCA or visit GWRYMCA.org.
United Way of Greater St. Louis is celebrating a century of helping people in our region with essential needs, early childhood and youth success, health and well-being, jobs and financial mobility, and community stability and crisis response. Find out how you can help our community at helpingpeople.org.
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
The Musial Awards return to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 19th. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event. It's the feel-good night of the year, a show you don't want to miss. Tickets at musialawards.com.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 314-441-4444. More Amy, more Kevin, more Chris. What is this weird show? The Show on KMOX.
It is the best time of the year. It's October, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Normally, we'd be talking about October baseball, and it's still going on, just not for us. It's over now. But it is part of the reason this is such a great quarter. In fact, not a great quarter. It is the greatest quarter. It is the greatest quarter of the year. October, November, December. It is indisputable.
Mm-hmm.
There is nobody that argues against that idea. Everything about it is perfect. The weather in fall's fantastic.
The crunchy leaves, the beautiful colors on the
smells.
Trees, the smells.
You know, you got Halloween, you have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas.
So the smells that go along with that
are
bonfire and pies and roasted turkey and spice and cider.
Nobody disagrees with us.
Nobody. Unless you are just crazy, just out of this world.
Well, I can't imagine a single person is going to text into the show and disagree. 314-436-7900 or leave us a voicemail at 944-1120.
I agree. This is the best time of the year. And I also agree it's better if Christmas just doesn't quite come. I love the people are nicer. They see each other in the parking lots. People are friendlier. Thank you.
He gets it.
He does get it.
And
Told you, no
gets-
one's going to disagree.
No, and he gets the part of how you never actually want Christmas to arrive.
Yeah.
Because, then it's kind of the beginning of the end. What
Yeah.
you want is that in-between period when everybody is nice and everything is decorated. You go on a walk at night. Oh, there are Christmas lights all over trees and homes. It's not dark and gloomy. It's bright and cheerful.
Remember how I said that it's almost like the anticipation of the playoffs starting?
Mm-hmm.
That you almost don't want the playoffs to show up because
Right.
the anticipation of being a playoff team and getting ready for the playoffs and knowing they're coming, sometimes it's better than the actual playoff. See?
This year, the
Told ya.
anticipation was super fun and the
Right.
playoffs were not.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
So
God.
we need your feedback. We want to hear why you agree with us because obviously
You're not going to disagree.
you're not going to disagree. Also, fun fact, at the wedding in Bloomington this weekend,
Yeah.
Will from Bloomington had someone come up to me and say, "Hey, I listened to the show."
This one?
This one, the show. How old are you? And I said 39. And he said, well, how old are your co-hosts? And I said 50 and 46. I don't know.
5. Come on.
45.
Come on, man.
45. And he said, oh, I thought you were older. And I definitely thought you were the oldest because they act like you're 80. I said, yeah.
Well, you act like you're 80.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny. That was something that actually back in the hockey days, Alex Ferrario used to talk about my age, and he would always throw it out there that I was 63 or 67 or 71, and nobody knew my real age. So then we would meet people and they thought, oh, I thought you were 67.
You don't you don't sound like you're an older person until if you were to take away all the nonsense that you're talking, but you just hear your voice, you don't sound like an old person.
But if you read what I was saying, you would
Yeah,
think
oh yeah,
I
you'd
was
say this.
120.
Yeah, this lady is having tea time every day. She just really struggling.
She's on the back nine.
Oh, you might be anyway. I think we all are.
On that note,
A final hour of the show is coming up.
Hey, St. Louis, as we cheer on our boys in red, don't forget to turn to our other winning team in air conditioning, Rheem. Your AC unit has been working hard all summer. So find a pro at Rheem.com now and schedule your seasonal service today. Rheem dealers are the true St. Louis cooling experts, selling Forbes-rated #1 equipment in your homes. Call a Rheem Pro partner today. Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Get great money for your old money. SNL Coin is always buying Morgan Silver dollars and Peace dollars. SNL Coin is always buying Walking Liberty half dollars and Franklin half dollars. SNL Coin is always buying 90% silver coins, dimes, and quarters. SNL Coin is always buying silver bullion rounds and bars. Call SNL Coin, 9300 Gravoy Road, 544-3600 before you sell. SNL Coin also buys scrap gold, gold-filled, silver plate items, and sterling flatware. Precious metal gets you better money at SNL Coin.
Hey, Ed Brock, everybody. If you love Halloween like I do yourself a favor and visit Johnny Brock's Dungeon. Why shop those tiny pop-up shops when you can shop 30,000 square feet of locally owned Halloween fun? We're open all year at I-44 in Jefferson on the edge of Soulard. Johnny Brock's Dungeon, a St. Louis must-see.
Yes, with inflation, interest rate increases, and a possible recession looming, we are no doubt facing uncertain times in the housing market. But as a realtor with over 20 years of experience, I can tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, now more than ever, you need a realtor to help you through these times while saving you money. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty, and we offer all of this for only 4%. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
but you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 1 o'clock, it's a sunny sky, 77 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, a toddler is in critical condition after being shot in the head. Happened in the 3600 block of North Kings Highway before noon. The child was taken to the hospital by a private vehicle. Police are not releasing details of the shooting. As Russia launched a new wave of attacks in Ukraine, CBS military analyst and retired Army Colonel Jeff McCausland says the weekend destruction of the bridge connecting Crimea and Russia says it's a tremendous embarrassment for Vladimir Putin.
He made a big deal after the occupation of Crimea in 2014 to build this massive span, multi-billion-dollar project, and even drove a truck over the bridge at the opening and ceremony. So it's a big slap in the face to him.
McCausland says overnight there were 84 missile strikes in Ukrainian cities, including hitting a children's playground in Kyiv. Workers at the site of a major complex of refineries crucial for Iran's massive offshore natural gas field have protested over the death of a 22-year-old woman.
The demonstrations at Asalawaya mark the first time the unrest surrounding Amini's death has threatened the coffers of Iran's oil and gas industry. While it remains unclear if other workers will follow, the protests come as demonstrations rage on in cities, towns, and villages. Activists say at the beginning of this week, the sound of apparent gunshots and explosions have echoed through the streets of a city in western Iran, while security forces reportedly killed one man in a nearby village. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A St. Louis professor is one of those recognized with a Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences this year. Philip Dybvig of Washington University worked with Douglas Diamond of Chicago and former Federal Reserve Chair Ben Bernanke on research into the fallout from bank failures. Their look at what happened in the early 1980s laid the foundations for financial markets regulation and the response to crises. Election boards in St. Louis City and County take action after a software company is accused of having data end up in China.
This is Kevin Killeen. Los Angeles County, California, accusing a Michigan-based company called Konnech that its personal information on Los Angeles poll workers has ended up on a computer server in China. St. Louis City and County both use the Konnech system, and both tell KMOX they have removed Konnech now from their website after the story broke. No longer used to register poll workers for the upcoming November election. And both tell us there's no indication that the personal information, names, addresses, social security numbers of local election workers have been shared with China.
The First Mid Bank and Trust Business Desk, pandemic impact.
Businesses of all kinds lost money at the peak of the pandemic, but the earnings of Black-owned businesses dropped at far greater rates. The research from UC Santa Cruz found minority-owned businesses were disproportionately impacted in part because they were disproportionately concentrated in the hard-hit leisure, hospitality, and trade industries. Tracy Jonke, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 3.98 points to 29,292. We got a vehicle fire on Page going east at Schutz. The 3 right lanes closed. A crash on 70 East before Jennings Station has the 2 right lanes closed. A stall 270 North past Page on the right shoulder. Weather sponsored by St. Louis City SC.
Plenty of sunshine on this Monday afternoon, but today is going to be the warmest of the week with a southerly flow kicking into gear. 82 for the high. Tonight, clouds take over, showers primarily late night. I think most of the action is going to be after midnight, 58. But this is the start of a stretch of unsettled weather. Tuesday, clouds, showers, could be a rumble of thunder, 72. Tuesday night, showers, thunder shower here and there, windy, 59. And on Wednesday, keep the showers around. A couple of spot thunder showers, 72 again on Wednesday. But Thursday and Friday is sunny, cooler, and dry. high each day 62. So some much needed rain on the way. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The new MLS club is now hiring stadium employees for the historic inaugural season to work for St. Louis's professional soccer team. Visit stlcitysc.com/jobs. That's stlcitysc.com/jobs. It's a sunny sky, 79 Florissant, 79 St. Peter's, 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
The poll is up on Twitter at the show KMOX. That is our account that you must follow. You must follow at the show KMOX. It is required of you. And you can vote which is the best part of the year, which section of the year is the best. January through March, April through June, July through September, or obviously it's October through December.
Right.
And tell us how you feel by voting at the show KMOX.
I'm voting right now.
You're voting?
I mean, everybody knows my vote.
Yeah, everybody knows your vote, and everybody knows my vote because I can't imagine picking anything other than what we've selected.
I just can't imagine picking January through March as the best. I'm not saying you can't find any redeeming elements from January through March.
Yeah,
but
I mean, there's New Year's Day.
The best.
Yeah, I don't get it. Hey, we've talked about Chessie cheating.
Yes.
We talked about Fishy cheating.
Yeah.
We got weights and fish. There we go.
We got weights and fish.
We got weights and fish. Because they put
what a
weights
scandal,
in the fish.
By the way.
I think this is a huge scandal. In some ways, this is more intriguing than the chess cheating, except for where they put the beads in the chess cheating was interesting. But for some reason, they put weights in fish and fish fillets. That's the interesting part. Were they frozen fish fillets or were they fresh fish fillets in order to feel fishy?
Well, they're probably fresh fish fillets. Well, you probably have to stuff them in there frozen, I guess. I really don't know. I don't know how you do it.
We got weights and fish.
We got weights and fish. It's my favorite thing.
We got weights and fish. There we go.
Man, you hear the pitchforks come out? The torches, like
apparently
immediately.
People were yelling for him to go to jail.
Well,
and the police were called and the police were like, what are we supposed to do?
Here's what I can kind of understand because there was like $30,000 at stake.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're stealing a lot of money from
You
people.
are, but I think they wanted him to be arrested on the spot.
Oh, that would have been great. They're very lucky this was all on camera because they might have been just drawn and quartered right there.
I mean, you don't mess around. I mean, it is serious business.
Well, now we've got Chippy Cheaty. We got Fishy Cheaty.
Yeah.
We have. What do you mean? We have Fishy Cheaty. We have
Okay.
Chessie Cheaty.
Uh-huh.
And now we have Chippy Cheaty.
What is Chippy Cheaty?
Well, there is a poker scandal.
Are you kidding?
No.
No, you're not
I am
kidding.
not kidding. There is a poker scandal. The LA Times reported it, where a woman who is a poker player, her name is Robbie Jade Liu. She won a Texas Hold'em hand that was worth, an incredible amount of money. And she has been accused of wearing a ruby ring that is a $120,000 ruby ring on her middle finger. She has been accused that the ring vibrates.
Like the beads.
Like the beads at the Chessie Cheaty event.
Yes. But
And
the ring
so
was on her finger.
the ring was on her
Yeah.
finger. She went to a jewelry store to have them look at the ring, like examine it closely to determine that it did not conceal a tiny camera or did not vibrate.
Interesting.
So think about this, like we're having all kinds of cheating what is
Yeah.
going on with all of the cheating?
Okay. Let's get back to the poker thing in a second. Because
Okay.
to your point, Axios came out with a story, the 5 cheating scandals in sports you need to know about. Well, you have already brought up chess. It's a big deal. Happened right down the street.
Yeah.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly,
all the cheating.
right there on Maryland and Euclid.
And now it has been shown that Hans Niemann has admitted to cheating right online. Then there was the fishing cheating where we have weights and fish. You mentioned the poker cheating scandal. There was also a cycling cheating scandal when cyclist Nicholas Clark was suspended in early October by USA Cycling after investigation found that he fabricated the events of his career.
What is going on? What is this?
And another one where I didn't know you could cheat, Irish dancing. There was an Irish
Like river dance?
Like river dance and Lord of the Dance. Irish dancing, I don't know how to say it because it's a Gaelic name. But
Michael Flatley.
CLRG, the largest and oldest Irish dancing body in the world, announced this month an investigation after a report alleged teachers were fixing competitions for their students. So it's not just cheating. It's also like these, I don't want to say fringe, but not your four major sports. And not tennis and not golf even. It is chess, fishing, cycling, poker, and Irish dancing.
Well, I guess if you think about it, you're probably assuming, all right, these are sports that are not viewed by millions and millions of people, right? So I can probably
poker is getting pretty popular.
Poker. There's a lot of popularity there, and a lot of people play it, on their own. They go to Vegas and they play at tables. Texas Hold'em has gotten really, really popular, and she. This particular poker player, maybe if she was in fact cheating, which she says she was not.
And just as a heads up, that one reason why she was accused of cheating is
because the jeweler gave her that ring.
Well, she had a very weak hand. She played it in a very unusual way, and she won $269,000.
Yeah. Well, she said, and by the way, she said she read Poker for Dummies.
Well,
the book,
Uh-huh.
which is, and everybody knows the 4 dummies, math for dummies, baseball for dummies, all that stuff. And it's supposed to help you get a handle on these things that you may not know. So she didn't know poker all that well and read this book. And after reading the book, she knew a whole lot more about poker and then won $270,000 on a Texas Hold'em hand. So the assumption was, and she was wearing a ring that was worth $120,000. It was a ruby ring that the jeweler lent to her one day before the game. So that's where all of these accusations are coming in. But if you think it all sounds really dumb.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money that is on the line here. So it's really not, if you really think about it, it's not that stupid that people would be cheating to win that money, to win $30,000. $250,000. Like these are all huge sums of money that it's not surprising some people would go to great lengths to try and win, even if it's cheating.
Right. No, absolutely. And my guess is too, with the ruby ring, to me, it's not that suspicious that a jeweler would lend a high-profile poker player in a high-profile tournament a ring because your hands are on TV. It's just like going to the Oscars.
People are going to say, where'd she get that ring?
Yeah. What's interesting, though, in the past couple of hours, the poker scandal has taken an interesting twist.
Oh, tell me more. Please tell me there are beads.
So high-stakes investigation has been reviewing video of that hand, and they found an employee of theirs, quote, removing chips from Robbie's stack after the broadcast had concluded and while Robbie was away from the table. The individual involved has since admitted to taking $15,000 worth of chips from her stack. He was then immediately fired, and the company informed Lou and the Gardena police.
So he stole
$15,000.
He stole chips from her, and everybody thinks she stole the hand.
A separate cheating scandal.
Oh my God. It's
know.
cheating on cheating.
It's cheating on cheating.
So meta.
What's interesting is we all, like, everybody hates a cheater, and nobody probably really pays attention to Irish dancing in the way that they pay attention to the NFL. But now there's a cheating scandal, and by golly, you want to learn more.
How would you even cheat at that?
They fixed. I think they were fixing the competition.
The judges, they got to them.
There wasn't a lot of detail, but yeah.
Do you think this level of cheating goes on a lot, and we're just now finding out about it? That it's coincidence that there are these 4 events
Mm-hmm.
that have all happened within the last month, and we've all found out about it, and they're all kind of big deals? Or do you think that it's just, like it's been going on,
That's a
and
good question.
now we're getting a grasp of it, or are these like very isolated incidents that all just happen to be going on in the course of a few weeks?
So it's gone on, but probably in the past, I don't know, maybe in the past few years, with everybody having the technological capability of being up in everybody else's business, that we can find out about it. And I don't know, because remember when the chess scandal broke, the recent one with Hans Niemann, I believe a story I read said this is the biggest chess scandal since, and I think it was like 2006. And we're like, wait, what happened in 2006? So I don't know. I mean, obviously cheating has always taken place. I don't know if it's that there's more of it, or we're just able to find out about it, or with technology, it's harder to get away with it. You would think that.
Well, with the technology, you're probably thinking that it would be easier to get away with it, that there are all these different things I can do now, vibrating things and phone apps and different smaller technology.
But between all the cameras everywhere and the cloud, it's also easy to get caught.
You cannot escape the cloud.
You can't escape the cloud.
The cloud is so everywhere.
I just think it's really. And if they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, do you think a bunch of people start playing chess now?
I think maybe, but I have to imagine the chess headquarters here in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to love this.
I mean, it's everywhere.
Secretly, they've got to love
everywhere,
right? And even though I mean, you want to say it's over, but it's kind of not, because there was the silly photo of Niemann, this chess player, at the last event, and he's getting wanded. With the, let's see if this person, when you go to the airport or you go through a ball game and they take the wand and they see if you have anything on you. They were doing that to him, and they were, at least in the photo, they were very focused on his backside. So
speaking, go ahead.
Well, I think that with all of this and the absurdity of it, the chess organization here has to love it. They've got to love it.
No such thing as bad publicity, baby.
All the attention is wonderful for them.
Can I ask you something as we go into break, which I know is not fair, but speaking of backsides and cameras.
Good Lord.
What exactly happened with the butt grab on
Are you talking about Buck Showalter?
Yes. Can you explain quickly what that was?
I don't know.
Because I think
what Amy is talking about, Buck Showalter is he's the manager of the New York Mets.
And if you want to see a picture, Derek Gould also retweeted it, and he said, baseball, all the feels.
Well, there was you know what? I'll talk about that when we come back.
Okay,
because there were some weird things that happened on a baseball field yesterday.
Yeah.
Some really odd stuff. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji with you here on the show on KMOX.
All right. Well, it has been a bumpy couple of years for business owners. You have COVID, you have inflation, you have supply chain issues, restrictions, shutdowns. The list goes on and on. If you have a business and your business has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past few years, well, listen up. I've got some good news. Go to getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com. You could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. That's right. You could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. That can be a huge help if you are a business owner and you think, man, I need a break. I need a little bit of help. Now, the hard part is getting your hands on it, right? A little bit confusing when it comes to taxes and government and red tape and all of that. You want to make sure you do it right. Well, go to getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys they have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program and have already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Also, businesses of all types can qualify. Even if your business took PPP, you're a nonprofit, or maybe you saw an increase in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com.
The impacts of this storm are historic.
Text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief, which helps people affected by disasters such as Hurricane Ian. Message and data rates may apply. Or go to KMOX.com for additional ways you can help.
We are all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Now that it's autumn, check window and door seals for proper insulation and replace your furnace air filter. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
What was that? If you find yourself asking that question more and more often, do yourself a favor and get your hearing checked today at the Audiology Center. Dr. Colleen Bosler has a doctorate in audiology, the most thorough hearing assessment test, and the top-of-the-line hearing aids. The Audiology Center with 3 locations, Creve Coeur, St. Peter's, and Florissant. Call today, 636-441-7470, or find Dr. Bosler online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. If your home's important to you, check out my friends at Banner Construction. If you're looking for windows, you should know that Banner is a James Hardie Elite Preferred Contractor. James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding has the rich look and feel of wood. And Banner's also a Platinum Certified Pella Window Contractor. Those Pella windows are beautiful, and they come with a 30-year warranty. One of the safest investments you can make today is an exterior renovation to your home. And Banner homes have timeless beauty, striking curb appeal, and ultra-low maintenance. If you take pride in your home, trust it to the team of experts at Banner Construction. My friends at Banner have engineered their projects to go beyond the basic low-cost solutions. That's more than 25 years of experience. And now is the perfect time to plan for this important project and do what the Brennans do. Call on the experts at Banner. They're ready to help. Call 314-569-1050 or online, bannerconstruction.com.
Caring for residents for over a century, Manor Grove is committed to making everyone feel at home. Choosing a home for your loved one to reside is an important decision and shouldn't be taken lightly. Manor Grove makes your decision easy with medical professionals and staff who care for residents like family. If you are looking for a caring and quality nursing home and rehab facility, please visit our website, manorgrove.com, and take our virtual tour. Manor Grove, over a century of caring. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
Book your next vacation with AAA Travel. Right now through October 22nd, get up to $200 in value on select Pleasant Holidays AAA vacations. You could be on your way to the beaches of Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, Playa del Carmen in Mexico, or Oahu in Hawaii. Ask your AAA travel advisor about other destinations and added values. These Pleasant Holidays offers with AAA Travel end October 22nd, so call a AAA travel advisor today. You can also find out more at AAA.com/AAA Travel.
Tom Ackerman here for Building Community with Busey Bank, a podcast series easily accessible at KMOX.com/community banking. This month, the United Way celebrates 100 years of helping those in our region. And of course, Busey Bank continues its long-standing involvement. Our October podcast focuses on what the United Way means to our community and the many ways you can get involved. Listen to our October podcast, Building Community with Busey Bank, at KMOX.com/community banking.
Trusted information, live and local. From the award-winning KMOX Newsroom.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack.
Amy is really interested in this butt grab.
No.
You are. And,
Well,
and here's what happened.
Because it looks like assault, to be
It
honest.
looks okay.
It's pretty bad.
Well, kind of.
It looks like assault. Like if that were a female, that's assault. So if it's a male, it's assault.
It is a very common thing in sports where coaches, athletes, butt tap each other.
Oh, yeah.
Where they give the pat on the butt. Happens all the time. Manager goes out to the mound.
Yeah.
takes a pitcher out of the game, takes the ball, taps him on the butt as he's walking back to the dugout. Happens all the time. All the time.
Hockey, you see it all the time. Every sport. It's just a thing.
What you're talking about
Is not a tap.
It's very strange. So Buck Showalter is the manager of the New York Mets, who have been eliminated. They were they were eliminated last night by the Padres. And by the way, we did get a texter earlier who, when we were talking about the Cardinals, he says, at least you're not the Mets. 101 game winning season got swept. Well,
True.
yeah, it doesn't make it hurt less. Not for me.
You actually could have just stopped it at least you're not the Mets.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, but yeah, they did have
Although
a
they're going to
pretty
be
great season.
spending a lot of money, I think,
Yeah.
moving forward. At any rate, there's a photo, and it's not really a photo. There's a video of it, too.
Like a screen grab.
Well, there's a screen grab, but I saw the video where he actually does the thing. Buck Showalter is in the dugout, standing next to Jacob deGrom.
Yes.
And for people who don't follow baseball, deGrom, you could argue, is the best pitcher in the game right now. And he gets hurt a lot. He spends a lot of time on the injured list, but he's amazing. He's been so good for the last several years when he is healthy. But he's standing next to him in the dugout, and Buck has his hand on deGrom's butt.
It's
But it's
under.
like
It's like under the
it's like
butt cheek.
under the cheek, and he squeezes it. It's really
so uncomfortable.
It's really odd.
So at D Gould, Derek Gould retweeted it along with the picture of
Joe Musgrove.
Joe Musgrove checking, getting his ear checked.
And then also last night, Showalter made the umpires check Joe Musgrove's ears because he thought that Musgrove had a foreign substance and was doctoring the baseball.
Yeah.
So
So,
Buck had a wild day yesterday.
yeah. So between these two images, Derek Gould tweeted baseball, all the feels.
I mean,
but the butt grab, just to be honest, again, it's like weird.
if it were, you're
It's
right about this.
weird.
You're right about this one thing. If it were not a typical thing that happens in baseball where guys are touching each other's butts all the time, if that were not a usual behavior, this might actually be a story. Like, it might actually be a thing where, like, what is he doing? That's just
But
so weird. And it's so invasive.
Even with the tap, my thought is still, what are you doing?
It's a lot.
It's like the Friends episode.
I wonder what deGrom thinks. I wonder if the pitcher is thinking, man, you're really in there. Like, why are you doing this?
I mean, let me just say this. That is how I imagined someone checking to see if you were cheating in chess.
Well, I mean, he was close enough.
I know. If you were cheating in chess in the way that Hans Niemann was rumored to have been cheating, Buck Showalter would have found that out.
Just, I mean, just a remarkable scene from Citi Field in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, and I wish
don't
I had.
either.
I wish I had some kind of answer for you, but that was really, really something.
It's a little bit uncomfortable, not going to lie.
I don't know what's going on there.
A lot of bit uncomfortable.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the show KMOX and vote in our poll. It's October. That means we're in the best part of the year, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. You're listening to the show.
Have you heard the news?
I'm Megan Lynch. These are the stories making news.
Start your day with Total Information AM.
I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Debbie, Tom, and Megan bring you St. Louis's news.
What Missouri's new voting laws.
Traffic from Roger Brand.
Busy on the highways.
And the latest forecast.
Thank you with the meteorology scene DeVore.
At 8.
I'm Carol Daniel.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
It's Total Information AM expanded with more news, interviews, and in-depth story coverage.
COVID boosters.
Total Information AM on 98.7 FM, 1120 AM, and the Odyssey app.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-328-8000 or at chrisbuyshomes.louis.com and get your cash offer without any obligations, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay the rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinst.louis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-328-8000. That's 314-328-8000. Call Chris and get the offer you've been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com or call 314-328-8000.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
At 1:30, it's sunny and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Russia fired missiles at Kyiv and several other Ukrainian cities in retaliation for an attack on a bridge that linked Crimea to Russia. BBC reporter Paul Adams has been surveying the damage in hard-hit Kyiv.
For 3 hours this morning, the missiles kept coming, landing in the very heart of the city for the first time. Outside a university building, a glass tower housing the German consulate, a children's playground. On the street not far from our base here, we found mangled cars being loaded onto trucks. And on the ground, surrounded by shattered glass and fragments of metal and concrete, lay the lifeless body of a woman.
The major search for victims of Hurricane Ian ended over the weekend, and residents returned to a decimated Fort Myers Beach. An army of 42,000 utility workers has restored electricity to more than 2.5 million businesses and homes. Heat waves will become so extreme in certain regions of the world within decades that human life there will be unsustainable, according to the United Nations.
The United Nations and the Red Cross are warning that heat waves will become so extreme that certain regions of the world will be unsustainable for human life in just a matter of decades. These areas include the Horn of Africa, as well as South and Southwest Asia. The organizations say heat waves in these places will bring, quote, large-scale suffering and loss of life. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Los Angeles.
We've got a vehicle fire on 70 going east past 270. The 2 right lanes are closed. Also vehicle fire, Page east at Schutz. The 3 right lanes closed. We've had a crash on 70 east on the ramp from 170. They've cleared a crash on 70 east before Jennings Station. Got a pedestrian accident on Grand at Wyoming. An eastbound 70 lines up before Lucas and Hunt to Jennings Station. This afternoon, a high of 82 degrees. Overnight low 61. Tomorrow, showers, even a thunderstorm with a high of 72. Right now, it's sunny and 78 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This report brought to you by the VA St. Louis Healthcare System. Support comes from the VA St. Louis Healthcare System, offering world-class care to all enrolled veterans. If you think you're at risk for monkeypox, vaccines are available. Contact your primary care provider through MyHealthVet. The St. Louis VA, Healthcare for Heroes.
United Way of Greater St. Louis is celebrating a century of helping people in our region with essential needs, early childhood and youth success, health and well-being, jobs and financial mobility, and community stability and crisis response. Find out how you can help our community at helpingpeople.org.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
You know, the Midwest Money slogan, isn't cash in the bank better than scrap in the drawer? This is Johnny Rabbit. Midwest Money, the oldest coin shop in St. Louis. Buying, selling, and trading since 1971. Silver and gold, coins, sterling silver, flags, medals, daggers, and more. Not sure what you have? Bring your collectibles to someone you can trust. Midwest Money, at the corner of Hampton and Holly Hills. You'll be happy you did.
It's simple math. Rising prices equals tighter family budgets. I'm Katie Stewart. I'm a mom and a math teacher. In Springfield, I cut grocery taxes, froze gas taxes, and delivered income tax credits for working families. I help pass measures to crack down on price gouging by drug companies to lower healthcare costs. I'm investing in vocational training to train workers for high-paying jobs like welders and carpenters that pay $35 or more an hour. I'm Katie Stewart. My opponent, Jennifer Cordy, has said victims of rape who choose to have an abortion will regret it later. Cordy is for a total ban on choice in Illinois. I'll protect a woman's right to choose, no matter what happens in Washington. It's why Planned Parenthood supports me. I'm Katie Stewart, candidate for state representative. I'm not a politician. I follow numbers, and our community is always first. Paid for by Friends for Katie Stewart.
Get ready for Monday Night Football as the Chiefs take on the Raiders. Touchdown, Kansas City! Pregame at 6, kickoff 7:15. And you can hear the game here on your home for Chiefs football, KMOX.
It's the show on KMOX. Amy Marks, Kors, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler coming back tomorrow. And we decided that we'll get more into this time of year and how we are seemingly preparing for Christmas and the holiday season a lot sooner than we usually do. But I also feel like we have this exact same conversation every year. And Kevin hates Christmas. He hates the holidays. He hates Christmas music, which is crazy.
And I think he hates babies and America.
Dogs and puppies.
Yeah, probably.
Baby seals.
Oh, he's the worst.
He really is the worst.
You know, Susan's a saint.
She really is great.
For, putting up with that
happy
guy.
birthday to her.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person I have ever met, Kevin, who celebrates baby seals caught in fishing nets. You know, he's just that bad of a person. He doesn't do that. That was a joke. I think I put Amy over the top on that one.
That's so mean. That's a horrible image.
I know, right?
Not to be joked
Well,
about. What is there's a comedian who talks about the dolphins being caught in the tuna nets and how everyone keeps freaking out. What about the dolphins caught in the tuna nets? And he said, what about the tuna caught in the tuna nets?
those are big
they're
fish.
animals too.
Yeah,
How come nobody cares about the tuna in the tuna nets?
Because they're delicious.
They are delicious.
Tuna is delicious.
Why is it so good?
I don't know. I don't know, but one big tuna is worth like $100,000 or something. It's a crazy amount of money. They're so big. We talked yesterday, or not yesterday, actually, it was on Friday.
Yep.
Senator Ben Sasse, who is in the second year of a 6-year term.
His term expires in 2027.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he and I think there has been official word. He is going to be now the president of the University of Florida.
And I think it's basically all but official. They just have to. My understanding.
He's the only
is,
finalist.
Yes, if all goes as planned, it's
Right.
reported that Senator Sasse will announce in mid-November that he's resigning in 30 days.
Well, he did, by the way, address faculty today at the University of Florida, and this happened earlier in the afternoon. Well, so I guess maybe about an hour or so ago. And so he addressed them, which means this is going to happen. But we talked about how, and I do not agree politically with a lot of Ben Sasse.
Right.
And
Because
you know
he's
what?
a true conservative.
He is,
Yeah.
and that's not my mindset. I just don't agree with a lot of conservative positions. There are some that I do, but just predominantly, that's not how I see things, and that's okay. Amy and I disagree on a lot, but
whole lot.
we understand that agreement and disagreement is part of the whole thing, and it's okay. All of it is okay. But what is alarming about this is this just for me, Amy, feels like yet another person who was, while I disagree with him politically, was at least not insane and not embracing things like a stolen election because it didn't go his party's way. And now he's going to be gone from the Senate. And it seems like we have more and more people leaving Congress who might be Republicans, might be on the conservative side, but don't agree with all the madness that's taken place over the last couple of years. And now they're not going to be in Congress to kind of hold off some of that madness. So
Right.
for me, it's alarming. And I don't know how you feel about it. We didn't really get a chance to dive into this the other day, but it's one of these things that I really wish was not happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's sad and it's not surprising. So even during his first time, Senator Sass had expressed disillusionment with politics. He was not happy with the direction his own party was going. And he was open about that to the point that some people were wondering why he was even pursuing a second term. And he had said that he was, trying to basically fight on behalf of the conservative side, on the conservative coalition that is the true conservative party, because the GOP has gone a very different direction. You could argue we don't even have a conservative party anymore. But even knowing that he would be in the minority as a true conservative or a Reagan Republican within the current GOP, it was that conservative side was even smaller than he thought. And he realized, wow, this is, he was far more in the minority than he expected. He was one of, was it 7 senators, Republican senators who voted to convict Trump during the second impeachment. And he did not mince words. If you're wondering if he was kind of towing the line or trying to sit on the fence regarding Donald Trump, he did not. Not only did he vote to impeach Donald Trump, but he said that he, quote, kisses dictators' butts, flirted with white supremacists, disparages women, mocks evangelicals behind closed doors, and treats the presidency like a business opportunity. And all of those do not seem to be opinions. I mean, that's fact of who Trump is, and he called it out. And I think he's just done. And I don't blame him. I think the current toxicity of our political environment is going to drive good people out of politics.
I cannot blame one individual for saying, you know what, I've had enough of this. I don't want to work with these people anymore. I don't want to attempt to try and reel in the crazy. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I don't have the mental capacity for this. And most people wouldn't. You know, if you feel like you're constantly fighting against the tide all the time, I don't know how you handle that. However, it's disheartening to know there are people who just want to give up with it. And maybe for some people, it's the feeling that they don't think they're going to get reelected because they have these positions. Well, that in itself is a problem too, that these seats can be in jeopardy, despite the fact these have been longtime conservatives. And we talk about multiple people, Kinzinger being one of them, that they feel like I am at danger of losing my seat, so I'm just going to get out without losing an election. I'm just going to call it quits, whether it's before my term is up or when it's at the end of my term, whatever it is. I think people are going to vote me out. That in itself is alarming.
That's alarming. And I don't think that's why Sass is leaving.
No, this is an opportunity for him. And
Right.
Because he still had 4 years left.
But no, I absolutely agree. And what's interesting is, so Senator Sass, being an old school conservative, he's a fan of Alexis de Tocqueville and his analysis of American society. And he said, when explaining his move to leave the Senate and go to the University of Florida, is that, quote, Tocquevillian society is about building things. The center of America really isn't political power. I think the University of Florida is better positioned to build than any university in America right now. But frankly, I think one of the most basic things we can do to reinvigorate this place is, meaning DC Congress, is to say that people ought to be only here for a time and then get back to building stuff, which is interesting. That's Kevin Wheeler's big cause, is that people should not be lifetime politicians. We've discussed the benefit of experience, but I like that idea of people going to Congress, they're there for a time, and they get back to building stuff. And if you're wondering why he's so focused on the University of Florida, because I certainly was surprised that he said, okay, this is the tip of the spear with technology and building. The University of Florida is home to the Hypergator, which is one of the fastest supercomputers in the world. It's number 2 in the US and number 3 worldwide for higher education. And apparently, it is the largest supercomputer on any academic campus in the United States.
So there are exciting things to want to be a part of. And I get it. I go back to this. I just can't blame a person for wanting to have a better position where he or she feels like they can make more of a difference, where it's not going to be fettered by nonsense, where they can, as far as they believe, they can actually do something really good. And I don't know. I don't know what his tenure is going to be like. Maybe it ends up being really bad at Florida, but there are reasons and good reasons for him to want to get out of politics. I don't know as we move forward, and it's a discussion I think we'll continue to have, whether there should be term limits on senators, on people in Congress. I get the general idea that the longer you're in, the more likely you are to develop bad habits or bad desires, or maybe you lose touch with the people that you one time represented. I think that can happen. I don't think it happens to everybody. So I'm not sure how I feel about that moving forward. But I do
Right.
think for this particular example, it's not good. It's not good for government. It's not good for our Congress.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because as we talk about old school conservatives, principled conservatives, Reagan Republicans, either leaving or being pushed out, we do know that in the Missouri legislature, which is pretty soundly red, it may even become more hard right or right leaning, however you want to say it, with State Representative Mary Elizabeth Coleman and Representative Nick Schroer of O'Fallon. They're expected to win seats in the Senate. So the Senate will become more red. Missouri
Yeah.
state legislature. So you're seeing again in old school, and I understand that Sass is a Senate, a U.S. senator, and then we're talking about Missouri senators, but I think it's indicative of the trend of old school Republicans, conservatives are being pushed out right now in the GOP, and the harder right-leaning Republicans are taking spots.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. You are listening to the show. We'll come back with some final thoughts. We'll wrap things up as we get you ready for the Dave Glover Show here on KMOX.
For 25 years, ABC7 political reporter Charles Thomas gave you the straight news. Now, he's giving you real talk on the governor's race.
These Democrats are into name calling. They'll call people a racist, a misogynist, a homophobic person, or whatever, because they want to distract from the fact that they've accomplished so little in public office. And it's time people woke up and recognized that. J.B. Pritzker, what's he ever done outside of being born on third base and telling the world he hit a triple? J.B. Pritzker and his people called Darren Bailey an extremist. Darren Bailey? I met the man. He's a family farmer, somebody who understands what it's like to go to work every day, somebody who's fair-minded. I could trust this guy. I can trust this guy. Yeah, a farmer from Southern Illinois. Yeah, a farmer from Southern Illinois.
Paid for by people who play by the rules pack.
Have you scheduled your annual eye exam yet? Well, you need to, and it's something that you should stay on top of, your eye health. And at Ophthalmology Associates, they will do that for you. They're the doctor's doctors. There's a reason that doctors go to see the people at Ophthalmology Associates. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Malhotra is the one I went and visited just a few weeks ago. Dr. Greg Birdie and Robert Brasati and Andy Royer, all of them are excellent in the field. And most insurance policies, many of them, in fact, cover the cost of an annual exam. And it's important to go in, get checked out, find out if you do have any issues. And if you do, minor, severe, whatever they are, and Ophthalmology Associates, they're going to figure out what the cause is and how to correct it. Could be something as simple as dry eye, could be something that might indicate diabetes or high blood pressure or macular degeneration. They're all different things that the folks at Ophthalmology Associates can help you pinpoint and they can find the right plan for you to make sure it doesn't get any worse. And in fact, to try and make sure they correct those things. So give them a call and set up an appointment. 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
This month's Zero Res special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com.
CertaPro painters have powers beyond those of ordinary painters.
The power of precision.
That's the power of a skilled local team who know what they're doing.
The power of accurate estimates.
Estimates, not guesstimates.
The power of certainty.
CertaPro painters. That's the power of pro. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from thegelmanteam.com. If you need to sell your home to buy a new one, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator that you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman on your side fighting for every last dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
The Center for Hearing and Speech empowers communication. To see how they can help you, call 314-968-4710 or go to chsstl.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
This is the show.
The show continues on KMOX.
Amy, I don't think you're going to be surprised when I tell you the results so far of our Twitter poll at the show KMOX. Okay. Follow the show on Twitter, and you can vote. What is the best part of the year? And the question we asked, was it January through March, April through June, July through September, or now, October through December? And right now, and there are 23 hours left on this poll, so it's going to be up for a while. 56% of the respondents say it's now.
I actually thought it would be higher than that.
April, May, June comes in second at almost 7. Oh, I'm sorry. July through September comes in second at 25%. April through June at almost 17%. And poor January through March, 2%. So there. I don't know who these two
voted.
I think they're people who accidentally clicked that button.
I do too. I agree. I think those must be accidents, a typo.
Although you've got New Year's Day in January, you've got St. Patrick's Day. My birthday is in March.
So Dennis on Twitter has an interesting thought. He said that this poll has recency bias. Of course, people will vote October through December with 70s sunny weather, but you run this, meaning this poll, in December when it's 12 degrees and a foot of sleet, and July through September dominates.
Well,
so if we ran this poll in December in the middle of bad weather instead of in October in the middle of beautiful weather, he thinks the July through September.
Oh, I think
months
he's
would
wrong about that.
probably-
Because there's no way that people believe in recency bias.
I am the worst.
Actually, he might be right.
I'm the worst recency bias person.
But how often do we really have the bad weather anymore? We had it once a couple of years ago. Was it 2019? Or was it early 2020 where we had the snowstorm?
We had the snowstorm, and I will say several years before that, before COVID, there was that stretch where I think for 2 weeks it was below zero. It was something ridiculous.
Just deal with it. Deal with it. Put on a coat.
You can always put more clothes on. It's difficult to continue to take clothes off. And at some point, it's even counterproductive to take clothes off when it's really hot.
Big Blonde Dan text into the show, one of our regulars. He says, you're all a bunch of cockeyed optimists. Summer forever.
No.
Look, summer, I get it, baseball, but the heat, the overwhelming, the oppressive humidity in this region. It's not just St. Louis, but, like Kansas City's kind of like this. This part of the country gets very, very humid. That in itself disqualifies the summer months, July from September, from being a winter here.
Fall is just unbelievably gorgeous.
Perfect.
Do you know, back in the Rams days, remember when we had a football team? One of my favorite things to do, and I know this is super weird, but I loved it, going for a run on a Sunday, listening to Rams football on the radio, and then I would come back from the run, and my dad would have a bonfire because we grew up where we had, enough of a yard to split wood and have bonfires and that type of thing. And my dad would you'd blow the leaves, you'd rake them up, you'd put them on the giant quilts and drag the quilts into the woods.
What do you mean drag the quilts into the woods?
Like you would take the tarp or the quilt or the blanket, whatever you used, and you'd rake the leaves or
you
blow
take
the leaves
into
onto
the woods.
the
And
onto
then
the
drop them
quilts
off.
and then drag them into the woods.
But you'd bring the quilts back.
You would bring the quilts back, but then the bonfire would be going, and the smell, and the apple cider, and the marshmallows.
The smells of this part of the year, perfect. Everything about it, perfect.
Even the grocery stores smell good because they put those little spicy brooms in the in the walkway.
And we get pumpkin spice. And I know there's this assault on pumpkin spice because people are very anti-pumpkin spice. But get over it. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
I am doing a pumpkin run 5K on Saturday.
What does that mean?
Well, that means it's called the Gumbo Flats Pumpkin Run. It's just a fall festival 5K.
You know what?
And it's in the fields of Chester. It's a ton of fun.
I'm only interested in this run is if you have to run with pumpkins.
I think the winners
like there's a
should
pumpkin
get
race.
Pumpkins
You should get a pumpkin
if you win.
You don't get one now?
No. If you're listening, and then you carve a 1.
Skip it.
You carve a number 1
Skip it.
into the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great prize?
Don't go.
No, I'm going.
I'd say don't go now.
No, everybody go. I'll be there.
Yeah, it's not enough for me. That's Amy Marks Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. The Dave Glover Show is coming up next, and Kevin will be back with us tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
And we'll get his post-baseball season thoughts as well. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Here comes DGS on KMOX.
At Diamonds Direct, we're so proud of our value and our selection. But what's most important is our service to you. Our focus has never been to make a sale. It's always about making a friend for life, welcoming you to our family, and taking care of you through all